Now I'm telling you, the money is not in the account.
Yes. Yes.
Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot when days of olden time? What up, niggas?
Is that like a crowd reaction in the background?
I wasn't expecting that.
That was
That
really
was
good.
golden.
I saved it.
That's
I
good.
saved it
That was
because
so
we've
good.
been getting yelled at for how many episodes now about our intros being trash
A lot, bro. Since the
by
beginning of time.
It be your own people.
Yeah, that's it, bro. The one at the head
just-
table. She like to explain herself.
Ooh, yes. I like my intros nasty and ridiculous. And that one was our best one yet. Season
Whoa.
2, episode 10. Welcome to Nights at the Round Table. Fantastic intro, fellas.
Thank you.
Your sex talk is probably real crazy, nasty,
It's
and
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Grammatically correct. It's what it is.
Put that thing right there. Period. Give it to me like that! Exclamation point. Won't you come this way? Question mark.
What if we ellipses?
Please.
nasty and
Semicolons. Come this way.
Now. Everybody out there in Pod World, welcome back to another episode of Nights of the Round Table, our final episode of this decade.
2019.
Pew, pew.
Bim, 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 bim.
And it's your girl Coley over here. Who all over here with me?
Yo, this your boy Esquire. I'm here one more time, just in the building for the last part of the decade.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh,
Yes.
you like that?
That's really beautiful.
You like that?
I like you held
Whose
it
silky
together for
voice
a
is
whole
that?
year. Listen, I just took a sip and
Yes.
I'm almost off work till 2020 and I'm excited.
Yes.
But this is Najee reporting in from this other side of the table.
Najee?
Fantastic. Ladies and
me,
gentlemen,
niggas.
we got a special guest out here tonight.
Hold your
Introduce
applause.
yourself, special guest.
Double.
It's your girl, Pinky Lee Simone, Charlotte's very own.
Yes.
Very old.
Very own.
Are you from Charlotte?
Raised, not born, raised. Everything important to me
Except for
in
social.
a lady's life happened in Charlotte. So
Fantastic.
Wow.
Charlotte gets the credit for why I am the way I am. Blame Charlotte.
Had a lot of firsts in Charlotte.
All of them.
Gotcha.
Except birth.
Gotcha.
Walking and talking, but everything else.
Okay.
The real walking and talking. 704 all day, every day, shot.
Du-dum-tsh.
That's
my
great.
God.
We're so happy to have you. You were the first person we thought of when we decided to have a fourth guest on this last episode. So thank you for being here.
Yes, we did.
This is my dream come true.
Yes,
and
yes.
you're a faithful
She is.
listener.
Listen.
You get in our DMs and Lancelot don't know what to do. When you get in there, get to talking.
He knows what's going
Yes.
on.
Listen, there's, history behind my visit. Today I was supposed to shoot another podcast by a famous rapper who
Oh.
uses big words, SAT words, even though I don't know if he ever took the SAT test. But he caught wind of my Instagram post and my story where I said Nights at the Round Table was better than his podcast.
Ooh.
So he told me and my long forgotten hymen to make a choice. And here I am.
So you remember when the hymen was intact? Is that what you're
Yes.
trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad
Yeah.
you made your way here expeditiously.
Expeditiously.
I don't even think the text completely sent. Hey, will you? Yes.
Yeah. Wow. We
That's
thank
exactly
God
how
for
it went.
that.
That's exactly how it
That's
happened.
exactly how it happened.
You hear that, listeners? When we say "Yup, talk to us, we talk back," this is what we mean. So,
And we always paying attention. Lord knows we always are paying attention.
Unless you on Twitter.
yes.
We working on that.
2020, new us.
I promise you I'm working.
New
I
Twitter,
stay
new
off
us.
Twitter because Donald Trump is there and I ain't trying to meet him in that coffee shop.
That's a
in
good
Twitter.
point.
And he
I
will-
took
he
a
will
social,
accost you.
I took a social media hiatus, and Twitter was like, "Bitch, it's been 30 days. Who are you?"
Right.
So I had to do a whole new. I have like one follower at this point,
That's a
What?
and I haven't really done a Twitter campaign because Instagram is life. So
I will say this, but Twitter has some of the most pure comedy.
yeah, that's what I want to get back to. I
My
need to talk
God.
to Black Twitter.
There's a lot of joke writers.
I don't
on
even know if they know I'm back.
When we get to the part about Twitter, remind me to talk about my decade with Twitter.
That part.
Well, speaking
Yeah.
of Twitter and speaking of social media, Pinky, you also have an alter ego that you go by, And you're usually out
do.
here doing different things. You want to tell us some more about this whole thing?
Yeah, so I happen to be the creator, writer, director, and star of a hit YouTube series called Karen in the QC,
Huh?
where I play said self in about, how old am I? About
16.
40 some
Oh.
years. She's an older and gives no F's lady.
No, she don't give a fuck.
She don't.
She'll give a damn,
She
actually.
don't.
And that wig be
she,
popping.
she really don't. She doesn't
Did you
like
bring her
kids
here with
and-
you tonight?
I didn't.
Okay.
Oh,
She's drunk, so she couldn't make it.
she showed
is
up.
a
She showed up
holiday.
at the other podcast.
Like,
She's somewhere down there talking to T.I. Wow.
I don't know where that motherfucker is. I called her. She ain't picking her phone up.
Well, that is good. We are so glad to have you. We're gonna keep it rolling. What y'all drinking on?
Let's start with Pinky first.
Oh, yeah, go
Yes.
well, I am, as many people know, a vivid, loyal person. So we're still sticking with that peach Ciroc.
Okay,
It
then.
makes the bed knock.
Ooh, bang,
And I
bang.
have blended that with some pineapple Fanta.
Ooh.
So I like to call my tropical starburst.
Now did that peach vodka come out this year or was that last year? It's been out. How long has it been
Ciroc
out?
peach? Oh,
Yes,
that's been a couple years.
It's been a
Couple years.
years because
Way back, actually. Yeah.
but it's within the decade, right?
Yes.
a child who
Yeah.
shall remain nameless was conceived off of that. And that happened in
Yes.
And he has a loving home.
Oh no!
Thank God for
For
that.
you guys, the Waffle House night involved Ciroc Peach. The walking to the Waffle House.
Waffle. Oh, the walking to the Waffle House. Pinky, we'll have to tell you that offline.
Please do.
Hopefully that person.
So that's
is
how
not
long
listening.
it's been out.
Oh, okay. It's in the decade. It's in the decade,
I have so
though.
many corrections for that story, but we'll take it offline.
Okay, we'll talk about it offline.
My word.
Esquire, what you drinking on?
I'm drinking on a famous captain, not to be confused with America, Captain Morgan, and
I like that.
ginger ale. Very good with a little bit of rocks in it. Is that rocks? Or what did you call it? Fun stoppers.
Fun stoppers.
Fun stoppers. It has fun stoppers in it. So I'm kicking it here.
I am trying to be classy, but maybe not for long. We'll see. But maybe the whole bottle. I'm on a little Cabernet Sauvignon. I believe it's what does that say? Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, Katy Perry. That's what we had. That's what you had the other
Ready
night.
for. Yes, little Dark Horse. Najee.
I am. I finished a bottle of 1800 coconut.
Wow.
No, it's the last of the bottle. I didn't drink the whole bottle.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, I just opened up.
I was
the
gonna
lazy.
step in.
No, I appreciate you. Take my keys.
I was gonna step in.
Drop
Let's
responsibly.
talk before we
We'll,
close the
we'll talk.
decade.
We'll talk
Right.
offline.
Yeah, no, little.
You can't keep doing this.
1800 coconut with some ginger ale and a little bit of peach guava. No. Is it guava pineapple?
Guava pineapple. I
Guava
thought.
pineapple.
You mixed that
Welch's.
together?
I did. I did. I put a little splash on top.
Yeah.
That sounds
Ginger ale.
delicious.
It was.
And I'm
It is
sure that
actually
peach
amazing.
cut into that ginger ale just a little bit to
like
pull out
it.
the umami flavors.
Umami. Ooh, baby.
It's great.
Sorry, he watches Travel Channel too much.
I'm not tonight. We all. All right, here, listeners. We are not having a Who Left the Gate Open this week. Although, with it being the end of the year, you know that motherfucker is wide open. So this week, last week, it's been wild. So what we're gonna do with this episode is take you down memory lane. We're gonna get you all the way caught up until this moment right here. It's gonna be a good time. Y'all sit tight. Hold on to your
But before we do
horses.
that, make sure we talk about our podcast that we, the playlist that we just put out. This Christmas playlist.
Oh my God. Yes.
What is the name of it again? Stocking Stuffers. Stock your stuff.
The stuffed stocking edition.
Stuff exactly, and it released last weekend, right?
It did. It sure as shit did.
And it had some of our favorite Christmas songs. And apparently, we needed to let Najee do the Christmas playlist because we were coming up with a whole bunch. Pinky, you looking confused. I'm gonna tell you this. Did you know that Najee was a big Christmas fan, Christmas music fan? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
You know what? He just.
I feel like we should have known that.
But I had no idea.
I don't tell niggas a lot of shit about me. We know this. We
Keep the
know
mystery.
this. We know
Keep the
this.
mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were trying to put together the music, and Coley was like, "Well, send me like 4 of your favorite, 3 to 4, just 3 to 4, 3 hyphen
light.
4, and we'll put them together, and go from there, curate it."
45 songs
Did you
later.
kill the? I knew it.
Najee
it
was,
was like
blowing
9.
that group chat up real bad. I had to put it on ignore. I was like, "This is not it."
So I love Christmas.
Right?
I literally
So
love Christmas
sweet
music.
and innocent. I love Christmas.
It's the happy side of me, but I can't listen to it all year. People get really upset if you don't listen to Christmas music after Thanksgiving. They get really upset.
Really? So if you could listen to it all year, you would do it.
I do listen to it all year.
Wow.
I just don't tell anybody about it.
wow.
That's interesting.
Najee, I am learning.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I knew you were an old soul and doing like Motown and all that kind of stuff in the 70s and 60s and all that.
Me and James.
But Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas music.
We learned a lot.
Yeah, I'm one of those Grinches. On the 26th, cut that shit off. And don't start playing it till the 23rd.
Wow.
You got 3 days to play that shit.
Not 3 days.
Yeah,
The day before Christmas, the day of Christmas,
And that's it.
and that's
that's
it.
it.
Note to self: if y'all see Pinky out there in the city, please roll your windows up.
Right.
Or
Please.
turn your Christmas music down.
down.
Turn that shit down.
Hate it. Hate
Yes. So you got 3 days to enjoy that playlist. Y'all get out there and take a listen to it. We will also, by the time you hear this episode, we have dropped a phenomenal Songs of the Decade playlist. So keep an
Yes.
eye out for that.
As a matter of fact,
Great.
we were sitting there trying to figure out what songs we're going to put on there. We need to have Pinky put her stuff on there too.
Yes.
So since you're here for the decade review,
Decade.
Yes.
Mhm.
We'll get,
Just-
we'll get
just
you
No
all that.
hands already on there.
That was
We
my
haven't
choice
put
for
it in yet.
2011.
We haven't put on it, but it's going to be on there.
we're still compiling it.
Baby.
Okay. Yeah,
Me and my husband lost our shit.
Oh, no
That
hands?
came on. Listen, I almost threw the baby.
Wait a minute.
Listen to this track, bitch. I almost threw the baby. I said, no.
Dia says if you're listening, she is a
Don't
comedian.
call Child People Services on me.
She is a comedian.
No, yeah, no,
Poach
that's
out.
on there. Because that's my song for 2011, because that's the shit. That song is
God.
definitely it.
Oh, yeah.
Yo.
We'll get. Ooh.
That means
Yes.
a lot to me.
How many songs is going to be on this decade playlist?
You know, we not,
Let's
we're
not put a limit on
they're
it.
not
Let's
gonna-
just
It
do
can't
Not
be
a
a
limit.
cap.
We're
It
not
can't
going to
be.
confuse the
Are we
people
going to
with
keep
that.
updating it like Apple
No.
Music?
I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all the ones that we think should be on there, and then go for and leave it at that. But like, I don't think we should like cap it. No cap. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
That's what
Got
young
you.
folks say.
Are we leaving that in 2019? I hate to go off in a tangent.
No cap.
but
I don't even know where that
That's
came
the first
from.
time I ever said it.
I know that, but I wanted to stay here. Let's not go any
Well,
further.
First on the list of
That's
things
a
that should
word.
stay. No cap.
No cap.
I like it. Cool. So those are our playlists. Y'all check them out. Stay tuned. And now that I'm done fumbling the ball, we're going to take a pause to give a shout out to the businesses we love and open you guys up to hit us up for your business as well. Hey, y'all. We here at the Round Table would like to take this moment to shout out all of our existing business partners. Jay the Creator, the law offices of Anderson and Hart, Jet Endeavor Co., and the Comedy Arts Theater of Charlotte. We appreciate you guys for partnering with us, and we look forward to our continued relationship in the future. If you're out there and you're a small business owner, give us a shout at nightroundsclt@gmail.com or DM us at nightrounds on Instagram. We would love to hear from you and partner with you. Let's grow together in 2020. Hit us up.
Take it, won't take it, won't take it, no. Had about enough of it. I gotta be on my own.
I do not know this song.
On my own.
Listen at y'all motherfuckers. I do not know this song at all that y'all are
You
talking
should.
about.
It's a great song. Tony Braxton, bro.
Oh, that was Tony?
Tony the Braxton.
The
living legend.
Oh, I'm so
On my
glad
own.
that you did not disrespect her.
Did that come out this decade?
Not at all.
Not even.
That came out in the
Close.
90s.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of stuff that didn't come out this decade, we are moving on to this year right here as we do a review of this decade. We're going into 2020. How do y'all feel?
My word.
We made
It's
it.
weird.
It's crazy. It's
Nigga, we
very,
made
very
it.
strange.
Nigga, we made
Every 10 years that you make it is a fucking blessing.
it.
It is a fucking
It
blessing.
is.
Every 10 years you make it.
Literally, we are in our 30s right now. That's
Yeah.
3 decades that we have fucking made it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw a meme somewhere. And
It's
I'm,
our fourth decade we're a part of.
EJ.
I just thought about that. I was like, oh
You're
shit.
fucking.
We had some 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s.
Go.
Wait, 80s, 90s, 2000s.
You're all
right.
2010. No, this is our fifth decade coming up.
Yeah, you were right.
We're about to touch our fifth decade.
80s, 90s, 10s,
No,
20s,
don't forget 2000s,
80s,
Isn't
90s.
that a trip?
2000s,
2000.
2010s. We're about to go into 2020s.
We are-
Yes,
and
we're
we're
coming out
only
of the
and we're only
tens.
30 something.
Yeah, that shit's wild.
That's weird. That's like how you was correcting the fuck out of me. On my fucking head. You're like, that head.
No, bro, because I Smooth was like 90s, 2010. And I was like, wait, I skipped a whole decade in between there.
Yes, you're right.
The Titanic song.
Well, look. Well, speaking of decades, this shit right here. So the point of this episode that we're doing right now, we wanted to explore some of our favorite moments from 2010 to 2020 that's coming up. And when you listen to this podcast, please don't be offended. These are moments that we liked. I'm sure there's some other favorite moments out there. They're like, why are they not reviewing fucking Limp Bizkit in the music? These are moments
Did pass
that
away
we
this decade.
did he?
The dude from Limp Bizkit died
No,
this
that
decade.
was Linkin Park.
Linkin Park, not Limp Bizkit.
Oh God,
my fault.
save that, please save that. Put a pin in that. I forgot what was his name. Moby
I don't know the nigga's name.
Chester
Moby Chester.
Bennington,
Chester Moby
Not to
Chester.
be confused with Moby.
who was very much alive.
What's your name, Moby?
Moby. My name is Moby, sir. So look, before we get started with that, can everybody tell us what their favorite part of the decade was? What was your favorite moment?
Well, I'm start off.
Oh.
My favorite part of the decade was going through my 20s.
Baby.
2009, turned 21. So that was last decade, right? So we ain't fucking dealing with 2009. But 2010 forward, that 22 forward, so much shit happened in those years. Fun shit, great shit. Grew up, grew down, grew sideways, the whole nine. I just really, really enjoyed my 20s. It was fantastic. Looking back on it, I mean, I was broke as shit.
Right.
However, but
How does that work, right? Like I spent probably like the early part of my 20s just didn't have a lot of money,
without.
and like somehow I had the time of my life. Like that's crazy.
And no real plan.
Right, yeah, no
For how you
plan at
gonna
all.
get that kind of
Just
money.
like-
None.
I mean,
No
I
real
had a
plan.
job, but like, just a job. It wasn't like a career or anything. Like I'm just working and somehow make it work.
Yeah.
Something about when you're, and I think I understand what people say about you don't have to have a lot of money in the world, but you got friends and family that are there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not even like you're struggling. It's just, you're living your life,
Yeah.
like having a
Right.
good time. So
Like it's golden.
it's golden. And we grew up.
You don't have anything
Yes.
else to compare it to other
Correct.
than noodles
Yeah.
in college, so you balling.
Right.
That's true.
That's how I felt.
Rolled right out of there, kept going. Yes.
And kept it going. It was
I
like, we're going to fucking make it.
Because in my 20s, I like went through dumb shit. I found my career in my 20s. So it was like I went from delivering pizza to working at a Fortune 500 corporation
why
all
you do
in
it?
one decade.
Come on, somebody.
Get me out of here. I got to go. I got to get the fuck out of here.
I just thought about it in this moment. Like I remember like graduating from college, delivering pizza, being out here like mad, just angry, just
I remember
upset.
that part. We was living together.
We were, and I was a bitter soul at that point. When it came to like work and like where I was in my life,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't. I didn't feel like I had anything to bring to the table, even though I knew I did. But I didn't feel like, because the financial part was just so big for me at that point. I didn't have anything to offer because nigga was making $5.75 an hour plus tips, and the tips typically didn't happen. FYI, guys out there, tip your delivery drivers.
Please do.
Them niggas don't
I
make
cannot.
shit.
That's so unattractive to me. A raggedy ass tipper.
Hey guys, can I jump in on Najee's decade remembrance?
Have at it, man.
He was delivering pizzas, and I remember once you hit that job at your corporate job or the start of the corporate job, it seemed like a rocket ship where it was just like all you went was up, 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 and fucking
done?
up. I'm serious, bro. Like you literally took off, and I remember you were trying to in that decade. You were encouraging me and one of our other friends, and you were saying stuff like, "Yeah, you're going to get your law degree, whatever you're going to do, whatever, and you're going to be these people, and be successful, and all this kind of stuff." Yada yada. And it was just like you did things in your own way, and you proved you didn't have to get any advanced education. All you needed was hard work, gumption, and a will to survive.
Well, I will discredit a piece of that. I did get an advanced degree, so like that.
Well,
helped.
I'm talking about at that moment when we were.
yeah.
Unless you got it later on.
Eventually, which it helped later on. Yeah.
But still, you were already on the rocket path. You were on path to do what you needed to do.
I appreciate you.
So-
for those of you who don't know, Esquire has been here through my darkest of days. We've laughed, we've cried. I mean that in all literal sense of the word. And I just want you to know that I appreciate you
Good days.
and
That's
some
it.
bad ones. But I just want you to know, from all 75,000 of our listeners, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you,
Yay.
bro. I appreciate it.
Now that the boys are done crying, would you like to tell us about your?
It's got real tender in here.
That happened this decade too.
Don't do that.
I'm not
Don't do
judging.
that.
I love the moment.
No, yes.
Jealous, but I love not.
Ooh.
Oh, a decade for Pinky Lee.
Me and Pinky are locking eyes right now. I know this moment is about to be real special. Whatever she says, we're locking eyes. Go ahead. Locks
I
eyes.
just want the people to know I am proof that there is a God.
Jesus, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. I need to fuck out of
Get
here.
on out.
Ooh.
Run 2 laps for me, please. Okay.
Whitney had a
Oh,
song.
crap.
Run to you.
Listen, I would get a little bit, mess life up,
Yeah.
get it together,
Yeah.
mess it up again,
Wow.
come back around, mess it up big time, and the Lord caught me again.
If he
But
has to
it
reach
was
way down.
incredibly fun the whole time.
Yeah.
And if you are in your 20s, I remember being a teenager and watching shows to where, you know, they were panicking like, oh, I'm about to turn 30 or I'm 25 and I'm not married and I don't have it figured out. And I remember turning 25 thinking, I anticipated the panic. And then I got to 25, I was like, nigga, what? I'm not about to do that.
I got a
like,
little more life to live.
Right.
what? Like, it's too much to
I
do.
don't give a goddamn.
I didn't have I had things I wanted to happen and that I thought would happen at a certain age. And then when I got to the age and they hadn't happened yet, I was like, cool, because I got some more messing around to do. I enjoyed my 20s. And if I could go back through, I may not mess up the same way, but some mess ups are just going to happen. Like, that's all. God is real.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Some mess ups feel
And you don't
good.
have to know, like, enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to know everything. Bump that. Like, bump
It's more
that.
fun if you don't.
And
Really.
then when you get to your
Exactly.
30s, keep that same energy.
Yes.
I'm still just
Keep
as
it.
ignorant as I was then. I just have more responsibilities.
Yes.
And I act accordingly.
She
but
put the
in
T
the
on responsibilities.
teas, because
Yes.
they big now.
Can't
But
wait
God has provided the funds for those big bills. Won't he do it?
Can I jump in a little bit
Please.
on Pinky's decade?
Esquire has
Has-
also been a part of my story.
I'm just jumping in
I
a
didn't
little
realize
bit.
how easy that was to do.
It was easy to
yes,
do.
because Esquire has also been a part of my story.
And Pinky, think about it. Me and Najee, and to an extent on the latter end, Coley have been there. We've seen you through some ups and some downs, but look at you now. Look at you now. You got a little thing running around, and
Don't I?
he's about to color all y'all people.
I am somebody's
on your
mama,
side. You somebody mama. You got your husband out here. You got your good ass job. You got your
Cute.
Karen out here wilding out,
Life cute, yo.
flourishing.
Life is cute.
Life is cute.
But
But
I always thought I had to, you know, got to grow up. You got to act a certain way. You have to. No, that's bullshit.
yeah,
That's absolute bullshit. As long as you're,
Bullshit.
as long as you're true to yourself and do stuff your own way and in your own time. And I noticed that good things happened for me because even in the midst of my down, I was happy for my friends' ups.
yes,
And I think that's very important. You don't get many ups when you're jealous of other people's. And I mean, not just saying it, but I mean like genuinely. Like when somebody got good news, you or Najee, I've lost my shit. Lost my shit. So when it was my turn, I thoroughly indulged in it. I did it my own way. I everything I have now is equally yoked. My husband's just as ignorant as me. I didn't have to be serious, you know what I'm saying? I married somebody who understands this is what you're going to get.
right.
This is what you gotta like. My friends like it. So you're gonna have to, we're gonna spend the rest of our life together. Do it in your own way. Be genuinely happy for people and know that God is real and I'm out.
That's it. That's good, Pastor.
That is real good.
I guess my favorite parts of the last decade, are kind of like Najee. It's real general, but very special nonetheless. Being able to grow the way I have through my 20s, through all the shenanigans and foolishness, the ups and downs, has been at times crazy, like we've already said, but like well worth it. And actually spent the better part of the decade with these two gentlemen. We met, I met you in 2013. We were reconnected
Who is who?
at the same time.
Who is you?
I met Esquire
Okay.
in early
Just like my name to
2013
be said. Say my name.
Call me by
Say my name.
and was reintroduced to Najee after a long absence in 2013. So that the better part of this decade, I've been with these guys and had them in my life, and it's been a blast. A lot of my favorite moments include them because of how much time we've spent together.
Ditto.
I think if we've had to put an asterisk on a moment, we shout out to Najee and Mrs. Najee for the wedding of the decade.
Yes, Mrs. Najee.
Tip's hat.
That was definitely a good moment. But just being able to grow with my friends and have a great time. I think I started the decade jobless. Oh, no, I had a job. I had just gotten a job. Didn't really know how I felt about it. And now I'm ending it with one that I'm sure about, and I'm solid. I'm in such a much better place.
Bless God.
So it's a really, really cool thing to grow and see what's happened in the last 10 years. I'm excited.
Don't that feel good?
Yeah.
And if I could just jump in a little bit on
Please jump
Cole's,
in.
Cole's
If you would,
decade,
if you would.
if I would,
Please.
it's amazing to see where you started off at, and just seeing where you are now, especially with, I don't want to say like the confidence, but just seeing how you realizing that you can achieve more than where your situation was
When you believe.
when you believe. And I felt like when we were going through our growing up phase, there was times we probably felt dispirited.
Yeah.
Like, is this where my life ends?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
realizing I don't have to stay here.
That's the process, though. You
I do
gotta
not
feel
have
like
to stay
crap to
here.
grow.
So I just wanted to jump in on your decade a little
And y'all,
bit.
you hear that, listeners? This is exactly who Esquire is. If y'all out there, then you know that he is Mr. Positivity.
He is.
So he's been a blessing as we continue this sappy ass moment.
Not
He's
sappy
a
ass
blessing to
moment.
have around because of that
It's
positivity
sappy
that
ass
he
moments.
has.
Literally
last decade.
hard not to smile around Esquire. I
well-
see your face and I just smile.
Well, Esquire, what was your favorite
So
moment
we
from
can
the last
jump in
decade?
on yours.
Favorite moments of the decade. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of everybody. It's about, we all grew up in our 20s and we hit a little bit of our 30s in this decade. And this was about kind of like solidifying friendships, solidifying relationships, and discovering exactly who you were as a person. This decade was filled with some like terrible lows, but some amazing highs.
Yeah.
To compensate for those lows, right?
Exactly. And it was just like, when you had those lows, did you learn from them? And I learned from all of my lows.
Right.
But those amazing highs, godly, whether it was something as simple as celebrating birthdays, celebrating weddings, going out uptown, or fucking going into bachelor parties, weddings, or different things like that. It was just like, we are living our lives. So with me personally, just getting through fucking law school, becoming an
Yes.
attorney
So proud of you.
finally.
Yes.
So proud of you.
And that
Thank you
journey,
so
y'all.
much. That journey.
Yeah.
That journey was a
we'll
goddamn
get to that in
trip.
a second. We'll get to that in a second. As you were.
Becoming an attorney, settling into a career that I feel like I wanted to be in. It was just like, you just never know. So this decade has been very fruitful for me. So
If I could just jump in on just for a second
my decade.
to tap in on your decade. So for those of you who don't know, I've known Esquire this entire decade and some of the last, and we've lived together. We literally have lived together. We've both lived in the same complex, like an open door policy. So it seemed. I get the text or
Like on Friends.
it,
I
pretty
love
much
it.
pretty much
Yes.
what it was. Like he basically like we were each other's Kramer from
Yes.
Seinfeld.
Ah, love it.
It was just basically open door policy. It's like, oh, I'm on the way, but on the way means I'm at your door
right.
because it's
Oh,
only
mark
a
the door,
2-second
please.
walk. And guys, he's had his good days. He's had his hills to climb, but he's always been a bigger support system for me than I've been for myself, even when he was going through his own shit. And I think that shit was wild. I remember sitting at the townhouse at the 18 mansion.
18 mentions,
And
shout out.
shout out to the good old days. And just talking about different life experiences and shit like that, music or whatever, bachelor parties, the whole nine. Like, we've been through all this shit together. And for those of you listening out there, understand, if you ever get a chance to be befriended by Esquire, you're doing yourself a favor.
And don't play
Oh,
yourself
my
by
God.
messing it up,
True
idiot.
And if you mess it up, he will remember.
I think that is a shared trait
Yes.
of the group.
Yes. And if I may jump in, also, I can always count on Esquire to be my
Count on.
to hold me accountable, even if I don't want to be. He remembers things that I say to the T. I am not. There is no way that I can get away with anything around this motherfucker. And most of the time, it's
hates
okay.
it. And she hates it, guys. Just
We're
be
not-
aware.
we'll
No.
get
You
the
had your
hell out of
moment.
this.
We didn't stop you when you had your moment with us. Don't stop us when we have a moment with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, we're gonna lift you up just like that.
He also does not like to be the center of attention and like pubbed and like he'll find a way to turn on someone else.
Right.
But the beautiful part about being recorded, he can't bully me in this setting. he can't bully me. So he gonna have to listen to this from now
Listen.
into eternity because this shit ain't going nowhere. It's recorded.
Y'all
It's
not
in the
about to have me
files.
here
And-
toe up. I ain't got time for it. I ain't got time for
I
it.
said I wasn't gonna do it.
My water real low already.
I said I
We can always take a break.
It's real deserving though.
It is. It is.
Look,
we fuck with you, nigga. Long story short, we fuck with you.
thank you for fucking with me for this last decade.
All right, cool. Now, what's the next thing we talking about?
We got to move on to some stuff. We got some weighty stuff to talk about.
The mess.
So look, we have these things broken out through some different topics. So again, we're going to warn you. These are things that we enjoyed.
We don't want them to know. I think they know by this point.
Well, they know about this one, but just in case somebody fast forwarded ahead.
That's they.
Also, no matter how far you fast forward, we probably still gonna be talking.
That's true. This is not going to be an hour and 30 minutes type episode.
And if it is, you'll be all right.
Well, I mean, it's probably going to be longer than that.
No, my point is like it's gonna be longer. It may be shorter. Who knows?
Who knows? You'll be okay with it.
Just come along for the ride.
Well, we were talking about notable moments from this past decade. Some of the things that hit us, and y'all stop me at any point if you want to jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Baychella.
Yes.
This is where she was at the fucking...
Let's go ahead
At
and stop.
Coachella.
Let's go ahead. This is a good point.
I just want to make
Okay.
sure that we put forth all of our appreciation for what Beyonce has brought for the culture, for the whole nine. Beyonce and her husband, hell,
Yes.
in the last 10 years. That woman has done some shit, and I don't even know why. Her birthing kids seem to be like a revolution for the masses.
Except for the fact that people didn't believe she had the first kid.
True.
Well,
You know,
put a pin in Beyonce herself,
with the deflated...
but Baychella, in its essence, being the first black woman to headline Coachella, and just the way that she did it, it was fantastic.
Did you watch it when it aired
Fantastic.
live?
I did.
Not on
when it-
Netflix.
I didn't watch it when it aired.
I didn't see it.
I did.
You watched it?
I did.
I can see you Pink watching it.
Yes, it happened, and I was amazed.
Did you record it?
Amazed.
Did you
I
record
think
it or
I
watch it?
might have.
So you was in there like throwing your shoe at the television like, oh yes, bitch.
I was just so impressed. Like I didn't expect. I didn't expect that. Considering she didn't actually go to a HBCU, but she
Yeah.
still rep for the culture, I thought that was very responsible for her platform.
She gonna no see you.
Right.
Right, she didn't go to college at all.
Not like
Right.
But for her to embrace it
But
the way
for her
she
to
did,
embrace it the way she
yes.
did, I thought that was very responsible. And then I respected it because she got so much flack for her Super Bowl performance when she did Formation. For her to be like, "So I'm gonna do it again," like
Right.
it's in your face.
Well, you know, people who got upset were a lot of white folks
It was.
who did not
The ones in the
understand it.
comments?
Yes,
The angry folk
The
in the
angry
comments.
people.
who didn't understand. You hate police officers. Well, I saw it on Netflix, and I was just like, I remember watching it, and it was just like, I don't listen to Beyonce's music a whole lot. I'm not a big fan, but I would never take away from the fact that she is up there with one of the greatest entertainers of all time.
Yeah.
Like she has
Yeah.
a way of using technology and
Yeah.
people and stagecraft.
Yeah.
Like she's very smart about that. And it
Yeah.
seems like you're watching a fucking production.
Oh, it's great.
So it's really good.
And honestly, even as let's see, I'm a member of the Beehive, but I hold her. I'm not like in people's comments and all that. Like I'm not weird about it.
Right.
But
I'm like Beehive adjacent.
you know, like,
Adjacent.
I mean,
I get that.
Listen, I'm in, but I'm not going to not be honest about, like, you know what I'm saying? Certain things that
Exactly.
come to Beyonce, like people are just insane about her, and I'm not there. But I will say that if she has a song out that I'm just like listening to it, nah. But when I see it performed,
Well, she is a very
it's on a
visual.
whole nother level.
She's a visual
her
artist.
performance, whether I appreciate the actual album or not, her performance of it, her delivery of
Mm-hmm.
her art is what I just think you can't dispute. You're a pure hater if you try to dispute that, whether you're a fan of her music or not, because it's a lot of her music as a fan I don't like. I really don't like it.
Well, what was that last album that she put out where she put a video out for every album? Was it Lemonade?
She did.
Yeah,
She did
the
a
last
Lemonade
one
and
was a
subtitle.
visual album.
Yeah.
And
I heard
Beyonce, yeah.
I heard people saying, well, it's okay. But then when she put those videos out, it
That
was
video,
like,
the video did it for me.
Oh.
Yes.
Every time. For even the ones that I was just like, you won't ride in your car and listen to it.
yeah.
I do.
But having that,
Well,
That
no,
shit
I love
bumps.
Lemonade a lot, but I didn't
Yeah.
like it until the visual
The
part. I could
visuals
see
came
when I saw. I
out.
said, "Oh yeah, this is
okay,
it."
this
But it
makes
came out the
sense.
same weekend. Didn't
Well,
it?
see, I didn't have title either, so I didn't.
Okay,
I
touche.
heard it on
Right.
title,
I
but
don't
the
have
visual I
Tidal
didn't
either.
see, and
Mrs.
then I
Najee
got.
had like 5
Yes.
different title logins at that point. Everybody was like, "Bitch, did you see this shit yet?" She was like, "We talking about here."
Yes, so I listened to it. And
Logins.
yes, I just had to. I had to give it more chances, but then when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, this makes sense."
Because I mean, some songs are very
I love it though.
for a movement and to send a message, and to me, without a visual, I'm just like, I don't get it.
loved it.
Why did we have this long breakdown for all this drama? I don't understand.
Yeah.
With the
I don't know if
video.
you guys have ever been to one of her concerts, but her concerts are ridiculous. The only concert that I've been to that is better than a Beyonce concert is Prince.
Wow.
All right.
That's on record.
Put that on there.
That's on record.
That motherfucker, she goes. Now,
You heard
Prince,
that.
Prince was next level. That
Oh,
shit was
come on.
ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
But Beyonce is like a very close. I didn't go to any Michael Jackson concerts. Let me throw that out there.
Right.
But her shit was like ridiculous. Only thing she did was play an instrument. That's it.
I like it.
Can I give a I'm scared. I ain't scared, y'all. Unpopular opinion.
Okay.
Yes.
Other
I'm
than
gonna turn off her mic.
What?
while we're on the subject of greatest performance, I just want to go out there and say that. Don't you cut my shit up. All right, guys. Michael Jackson was loved for being Michael Jackson. I'm not gonna give him performances all his life. I'm not doing that.
Cut a mic.
I'm not doing it.
Cut her. Get her the fuck out of here.
Until the day he died, Prince was the king of performance. Michael Jackson stood on stage and people lost their mind. I'm not impressed.
Michael Jackson danced. Prince played instruments. They're in two. To me,
Listen,
they're in two. To me, they're like
listen,
you
bro.
can't, it's like apples and oranges. But
I
but
watched
that
those
was-
dances as an adult, and I was just like, all right.
Let me tell you something.
Other than the moonwalk, I didn't see anything innovative.
I've said this before. Michael Jackson's music wasn't just music; it was a feeling that you got. And seeing him perform his music and do whatever the hell he came up with, because first off, he was one of the first artists that put money into like his visuals,
Right.
and doing that kind of stuff. It was like you were getting an entire experience with
This
Michael
is very
Jackson.
true. However, Michael Jackson, unfortunately, did not perform in this decade. So we're gonna.
He did not perform in this decade.
We'll put a pin in that. We'll talk about that
Because
off
he
mic.
died. Oh, yeah.
He
That
died
was
in
a
09.
That was on
Died in
He wasn't in his
So
decade.
because he didn't perform in this decade. We'll leave him there. We'll come back and talk about it later over some more drinks. But let's
jump
go
into
back
some
to
other
the
stuff
next
that happened notable in this decade that we saw. Same-sex marriage that was ratified, along with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, that was struck down by the Congress.
Shout out, first off, not gonna go too far into it, but shout out to that.
Yeah.
Letting people live their own life.
Yes.
And don't sit here and tell me on one hand there's a separation of church and state, but then you tell me that because we don't believe in this. You believe what you want to believe. I'm not saying one thing is right, one thing's wrong, but like let people do what they want to do.
Exactly.
They're not hurting nobody. Let it ride.
That part. If you're
Yeah.
really going to stand by separating church and state, separate it then.
True that.
Separated.
And America hasn't done that
So,
up
yeah.
till now.
Shout out
to
to all
that.
the people that benefited. Got some favorites out there. Love y'all. Congrats.
Other thing that happened, Obama was elected a second time with a landslide. He was actually one of the few presidents that was elected twice with a over 50% margin. So
I was so excited about that.
when
Yeah.
he won against
of 'em.
Mitt Romney, first
Right.
off, I would take Mitt Romney now over the current president that we
Fair
currently
enough.
have.
Fair enough.
You realize he wasn't
Talk that talk.
as terrible of a person as we were made to believe. But
He had a heart.
Yes, he did have a heart. He wouldn't be acting as crazy as
Has
this
some good
motherfucker.
sense on him too.
Right.
You know?
It was
Right.
bad for the time,
Yes.
Yeah.
but in hindsight's 2020.
Hindsight's 2020.
So, but yeah,
But boom.
Okay, and then what else happened? Donald Trump.
he was elected.
running and he was elected. What were y'all thinking when he was on those debate stages?
There's no way this is
didn't
gonna
watch.
happen.
You didn't watch it all?
Literally thought this was
Scandal.
like, okay, this is to be entertaining. Like this is
Yes.
the entertainment period because they're not really gonna do this.
It was an
Yes.
episode of Scandal. He was
Yes.
Hollis
Mixed with
Doyle.
Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, take that off. That's Alec Baldwin under there. It's crazy.
When I saw him on stage,
I never took it seriously.
At all.
when I saw him on stage, I was like, "Oh, he's there to destroy the Republican Party." That's
Yes.
what they've allowed him to get on stage.
Yes.
That was my
He's
logic
there to
too.
destroy
Yes.
the. I was like, this is supposed to be a joke. Hillary's supposed to win this, I
Because they
guess.
kept showing that clip of him saying, "If I'm gonna run, I'm gonna run as a Republican because
'Cause
they
they're
believe
stupid
anything
or
you
some shit
say."
like that.
Yeah, because they're
Mm-hmm.
stupid. And I was just like, "Boom, this is what he's doing."
And before you know it,
I
he won.
remember, I don't know if you, that election night, 2016, we had a party here. And our energy was so hyped. We were so like, whatever. And as we started to realize that it was making a turn for the worse,
Yeah.
I remember my party going like,
Right.
I left.
real quick.
I left
Yes.
early. I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
I need to.
I'm
He
tired.
gets in
I
a
was
safe
up
zone.
at 1 a.m. in my bed, like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
I literally remember waking up the next day like checking social media. Come on, Ashton, because I know
Been punked.
the whole country got punked. I was just like, they're gonna say something happened to the votes or Just kidding.
Defiance County.
Like,
Clearly.
he was getting 5 votes for every one. Like, I was just
Almost everyone.
because there's no way that this happened for real.
CNN was like Trump president when I woke
Period.
up. Period.
People were waking up in tears
Yeah.
at the idea that he won. Like, let's scared out of their mind. I thought that the whole, like, fuck the Mayan calendar, I thought it was about to blow up when the nigga got
Yes.
elected.
Right. And I remember thinking in that moment, like, the same way you felt about Romney, like, Bush wasn't even that bad. Like,
Right.
he brought so much clarity to everything. Like, I'm real judgmental. I
Right.
need this.
Yeah, I need
Because that
Jesus.
was scary.
Had to get my house in order because I just knew that the secret rapture was coming soon.
Right, got to be.
I was like, if this can happen, are we really going to get deported back?
Are we getting deported? You got a birth certificate. I know, but what does it mean?
Nothing at this point.
Nothing at
Nothing
this
I
point.
ever knew made sense
At all.
anymore.
At all. We almost out of that, y'all. We got 11 months till we get out of this fight. Hopefully. America,
Hopefully.
you bitches.
Well, I mean,
Wow.
this is also, we saw him get elected. We also saw him get impeached.
True
so
that.
this is a crazy ass
random
decade.
aside about this whole thing. Can you get impeached and then reelected?
Evidently, you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Yes.
actually removed.
Unless, well, I don't know how that works with the removal because we never had that happen before.
I think
Yeah.
with the removal, you can't be reelected, but with the impeachment, you can. Just
So if you
a-
get fired versus getting let go. Got it.
So,
a layoff.
Right.
Versus getting
Yes.
are you rehireable in 6 months?
Yes.
Right.
The people could still rise and get him right back in there.
Well, you know what? The people that were rising with, and we're going to move on. This country is turning into a majority minority
Period.
point within the next. They said
see,
within
that
the next
was
3
my-
or 4 years.
Yeah, and that was my point. Everybody that stood in those lines and just, he made all those promises for her. He reminded you that, psych, I'm rich and I'm not thinking about you. Mm-hmm. Are you gonna be dumb enough to stand in line again? Like,
Yes. Yes, they are.
Well, I mean, well, look,
If
I
the
don't
woman
know.
or the gay man or the choice is probably,
Yeah.
they'll probably be just as hateful, and that is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
yeah,
well, maybe, but then again, this has been the most visual president that we've had in a very long time. Like, there's been no. What point do you remember your president being in your social media and on television every day, every single day, saying ignorant shit?
Correct.
Never.
Never.
And I get tired of fucking watching it.
Oh,
But
I'm tired.
but
What I'm not tired of watching is all these black women win.
there you go. There it is. And
Yes.
shout out to the pageants that's been being had with all
it's
the
amazing.
4 major pageant winners.
beautiful.
What is it? USA,
Miss
Miss
Teen
America,
USA, yeah, Teen USA and Miss and Universe.
and Universe.
That's fantastic. They're
Everybody's
all
black.
beautiful,
And
talented.
now Miss Frances Black.
Miss
I don't know
France.
if y'all caught that, but I just happened to catch it because
Yes.
I was following it so much. It popped up on my search on Instagram.
Like we.
They was
Miss
like,
France?
Yes.
the whole thing was in French. It was like,
OUI.
but we'll claim everything. The caption was in another one.
Right.
And another
I
one.
said France too. Okay,
Yes. Well,
let's get it.
Any French black people are descendants from African stuff, so that's us.
And it's also confusing. Also, with this decade, cancel culture has arisen. So women, excuse me, not women, but everybody's been saying if you make a fucking mistake, it's
them
time
outta
to
here.
get you the fuck out of here.
Where's the what is it? The Sandman.
Baby, if cancel culture existed in
Before
my
social media?
20s,
It did.
It did.
But not like this.
Not like this.
These last couple years.
No, these last couple years have been ridiculous.
people are reading people's thoughts and getting them out of here.
Right. I know you didn't think about this.
What
shit.
you say,
was that?
motherfucker?
What'd you say?
Not,
Get out of here.
Not Minority
I'm gonna
Report.
read my
It's
thoughts.
a Minority Report type shit.
We've just we've become a place or people who are wanting everything that we want. We want to be the best at everything, but also we can't take anything. We can dish out everything in the world, but can't take it. Stay tuned for our episode on that. We're gonna have one because we got plenty of opinions on that bullshit.
A lot.
But that is where we've come to.
But
I think that's very irresponsible for a growth period, especially as a country and a culture. Because, for example, our prominent leader, somebody I like to follow is Malcolm X. If we would have canceled him when he was 22, we wouldn't have him. You know what I mean?
before we went to Mecca.
Exactly. So,
Well,
we didn't have much longer after Mecca anyway.
I was about to say, I'm still talking about before then too.
well, I
When
think,
any means necessary, but still, I feel it was a very important part.
I think cancel culture mostly, in my opinion, is a product of a few people getting together on social media and almost like what Barack Obama was saying, creating hashtags and getting people involved in that. And it's like, you see people getting outraged online, but then you think in your personal life, I'm not really mad at that kind of shit. Like,
Yeah.
and you're pulling quotes and videos from these people and they're out of context. Like, you're only playing like 10 seconds of it, but you never play the whole clip. So let's cancel that motherfucker. So
It's because of the internet.
It is because the internets have made it so much easier for people to just go off and just say whatever they want to say, feel how they want to feel. And it was never like that to this degree. Like when the decade started, we were using our internet. We had internet on our phones. I think I had an Android in 2010, or maybe a BlackBerry. But I had internet on my phone.
Watch
It wasn't as fast. It didn't have all these apps with all this stuff you can get
it
to.
wasn't as
like,
fast.
go to
Did you
the
see you
actual
throw that in there?
internet.
It wasn't as fast.
It wasn't because you couldn't get to the information readily in the way that we can. Like right now, I can put my phone right now. We can probably just like go off immediately.
It's probably internet. It wasn't your phone. It was internet itself.
True.
Internet, like it was the what?
You was trying to make it seem like, because I got an Android phone, disclosure.
Just
You
had
was
to
trying to make it seem like
protect
you trying to make it seem like your Android phone just was not fast as
no,
an
that was the
Android.
I would say
internet.
not her.
The
That
internet,
was me.
exactly.
Okay.
The internet itself.
We'll talk
was
about this offline.
slower then.
Everything has
Androids
to
are
go
trash.
offline.
That's what we're talking about right now.
But because of the internet, we were able to take part in like Amazon and Etsy and eBay and do all the different shopping, so you didn't have to leave your house, so we can get bigger and not be out here fighting with people in the stores and stuff.
Thanks to the internet, Jeff Bezos' wife is out here living her best life
had the
Best
most
life.
expensive
Divorce.
divorce
ever.
and living her life.
Yeah, like I mean, now shout out to like her for having to deal with the shit and like having to go through what she went through. I'm not trying to like belittle that, but
Right.
like if it wasn't for the internet, Amazon was a fucking book. They sold books or whatever
Yes.
in the beginning, and like can you buy a book? You buy anything on Amazon.
You buy anything
Yes.
on
but
Amazon.
like it was like
That's not what it's known for anymore.
It was like
Nobody
the Kindle.
remembers
Right.
that.
Nobody remembers
Came,
that.
and the Kindle was like, oh, you can portable books digitally,
Yes.
and then it was like, and you can also buy condoms, whatever you want to buy.
Right.
You can
It'll
buy
take you
whatever.
30
I
days
was
to
like,
get there.
I'm a giant, and y'all don't want none. Amazon ho.
Amazon.
When
Exactly.
I remember when Jeff Bezos was getting divorced from his wife, and everybody was speculating, is she going to try and take half? That's going to take the company down and all this kind of
What?
stuff. And she was just like, I don't need half. I just need a lot of it and and some residuals, and we go from there. But speaking of Amazon, technology as a whole has evolved.
Yeah, man.
Not only are you thinking about these smartphones, you're thinking about smart houses.
Smartphone dumb shit.
Yes.
That too.
That's what Trigger said.
TVs, fucking cars, like
My
electric
mother-
cars.
My mother drives a space car. That thing, if I roll my hand over the door, it goes and I can unlock it.
Are you
How,
serious?
how's it go?
It's
I don't like that.
You know,
no,
what?
it's very scary.
I don't like too much technology in my life because I have to have some sort of control.
so you was mad at this decade with all this
I didn't
technology
like
that was
it.
going around.
I didn't like it. I have a Nest at home.
Oh,
Oh, shit. Oh, you fancy.
you got all the,
Oh,
you got all the
shit.
fucking technology.
Oh shit.
I
Okay,
hate that
Scrooge.
piece of shit. I hate that shit. I hate it. Like you don't tell me what temperature I
Oh,
want my
God.
house.
Right.
That's you,
I
You ain't
turn
gonna struck
you.
me to do
You
nothing.
guys got to struck me to do nothing.
that's you to tell
That's
your
my
husband,
favorite Uncle
you better not
Ike
be speaking to
said.
Siri
Right.
at
You
all,
got to struck
motherfucker.
me.
Like, I hate that thing. It aggravates. Technology, yeah, this decade really aggravated my life.
But if you think about it, because of technology, there are people who are literally worth millions of dollars. Kids who are worth
Yeah.
millions of dollars from just YouTube shit.
YouTube reviews of toys.
Why can't I do that? I'm starting reviewing stuff. I need to. In
Like, how
2020,
do
I'm
I
reviewing
pick up
things.
that traction to say this new highlighter is the brightest shit on paper and get $1 million off this shit? Like, what?
Hey, I'm still laughing at you. So you was just done with technology.
I'm sick of that
Goddamn
shit.
decade.
I miss buttons on my phone. I'll miss tapping 3 times to get to see. You remember?
I thought you said
That
you said
T9
you'd bring
shit is
Karen with you.
wild.
Here we
You know?
Nigga,
It's me when I get older. Like, she's still in here, bro. I hate technology, guys.
not buzz on the phone. I ain't gonna lie to you. When that fucking, I had a BlackBerry Thunder. That and it was all touchscreen. And I was like, "Where is my BlackBerry?"
Oh, they have different names for
Curve.
different carriers. Okay, yes.
The Thunder was all
Yes, the whole
flat
touch screen
screen.
with- yes.
And
Yeah.
then I had a BlackBerry Curve that had pictures of their butts.
When
And I
iPhone
was
came
pinky.
out,
Which is the one that you had to press the phone, like the whole face of the phone went
Thunder.
in?
The Thunder was. And I was pinky. Like, what the fuck is the fucking
let me
buttons?
tell you, when I upgraded, I
Listen,
went to a
listen.
different carrier, and they were offering the iPhone XR, which is the last one that came out before the 11.
Okay.
And I hadn't upgraded
Yeah.
until now. And I was just like thinking about this, like, this my last button I have left. And y'all trying to take that too? Like,
take my buttons.
don't
Jesus,
take
don't take my
button,
buttons.
God.
The technology, it has been crazy the way that it has gone. As someone who worked in that industry in telecommunications, watching all the different things that we went from selling flip phones in like 09, 2010 to when I left that industry, we had all types of shit in that store that had nothing to do with a cell phone. And I'm like, this is insane. There's things that we can do.
Right.
The stuff that we have access to. Like upstairs in my living room right now, I can talk to my remote and she do what I tell it. And I'm like, that is crazy.
I don't like
wild.
that robot shit.
And trying to bring your parents along on the technology.
Baby,
Like,
can you calling your daddy over here trying to get the thing on the thing? How he do it? The
The
what?
thing on the what?
my
My daddy
just
told me
put
the day he can't find his gallery.
his gallery. I
That's
can't find it, motherfucker.
that's preschool, Dad. Like, why do I have to every time I see you show you where your pictures at?
I just put my mom on Mama Esquire. I see you. We're not cussing a whole lot on this episode. I just put her on the fucking. I just put her on the fingerprint scanner.
Ooh.
A fingerprint. She was like the whole time. I was like, "Mom, when you this phone's gonna have a fingerprint on there." She was like, "I don't want that. I don't want the government having my information yada yada."
Nope.
Tell Mama to call me because you're not getting my Face ID,
Well,
and you're not getting my
well,
fingerprint.
I've put her on my side now. We set her new phone up. It was a S10, the smaller one, S10 whatever, light or whatever, and. I was like, well, Mom, if you just do your fingerprint, she put it on there, and then she realized she didn't have to put that code in there too much. She just put her finger in there. She was like, well, I love this.
I like my
I love
code.
this a whole lot.
I like my code.
Well,
No.
the thing with the face stuff, to Pinky's point, it's weird, but also they've also enhanced it at this point. My thing will recognize me in the dark with my hair wrapped and my glasses on.
See, I don't like that.
And I commend it. I think it's real
She
cool.
don't know who she
And you
is.
know, that was my thing too. I always felt like when I switch my hair, my phone not going to work.
It will get me
And
in
I
the
do
dark
that
of my
too
room.
much.
Bro, I shaved my beard. My phone was like, passcode, please.
Really?
Yes, bro.
Oh, wow.
I sent a screenshot to my sister, and I was like, so I shaved my beard, and my phone won't recognize me. She was
Wow.
like, don't ever do that shit again.
Right.
I agree.
But movies ruin me. Like the Fast and Furious movie where they had God's eye and they could recognize your face based on cameras and what is going on with this?
Rizzo is trying to get her fucking decade moments in,
Yes.
and she is not happy.
But when they could recognize your face with the cameras and stuff and down, I was just like, that shit is real, and you will never catch me.
well, that's happening now, Pinky, whether you know it or not.
I know. Can we,
Snapchat,
and then
Instagram, all that shit. They selling all that shit to the government.
can we use your location? No.
Well, look, speaking of love and happiness, let's move on to crime and punishment.
All right.
There were a lot of like
Something's going wrong.
trials, litigation, and everything else that happened within this last decade.
Yeah.
Most notably, everybody's favorite, except for mine, Uncle Bill Cosby. Wherever he
He
is,
wasn't my favorite either.
he wasn't your favorite. Why?
Not my
that's why.
favorite, but he's someone that I watched a lot growing
You
up. But not
respected
my
him.
favorite.
I didn't.
You didn't like it. Why?
Not that much. I didn't.
First Michael, now
Listen,
Bill.
guys.
Pinky, you got one more.
I know. You guys.
She don't like us.
I was born.
She just here. She just here to plug
I
shit.
like the show.
You like the show, but not him.
Not y'all.
I don't know,
No.
but I didn't know shit about Bill Cosby as a person. I'm talking about him as like a
Let me
Father
tell you.
figure
Let
on
me
the
tell
show?
you why.
no, just the show.
The reason
Different
why I
world.
wasn't a big fan of the show was because, God, I hate everything 80s.
Wow.
There we go. I
There
said it.
and it's out there.
Life didn't get lit for me until I was like, the 90s are life. I wish I was 21 in the 90s. I hate 80s music. I hate the way they dressed. I hate their hairstyles.
God.
Oh my god! What
I
happened?
hate it.
She said she was the Grinch. Hate.
I'm the Grinch, yo. I really just
Really
to be
hate.
such a lit person. I'm such a Grinch.
No.
So how does that tie back to Bill Cosby? You hated his show?
So I wasn't like a big fan of it because it was so 80s. I was just like, this isn't for me. It's not my generation.
It's
Even
not
though I
your
was born.
zhuzh.
It's not my zhuzh. You know.
Man, fuck that.
By the time I was old enough to comprehend TV and take a message from it, I was in the 90s.
So what did you feel about him being locked up? And going
As
through-
soon as I heard it, I believed it. I was like, yo, he did that shit. That innocent Jello eating raggedy nigga did that. He did that, yo. He been making Jello shots, nigga.
Wow.
Like he did that.
With
shit.
Quaaludes in it?
He been doing that. He been doing that. And that whole smile and head shake he do.
Wow.
That's to make sure
Oh,
if you
man.
can still see him or not. Like,
How many of me are there? Jello
like he
pudding.
been doing. I was like, oh yeah, that's
That's
true.
good.
You're disgusting.
That's good. I like that.
Wow.
You are a filthy
That's
vagabond
true.
of a guest.
So you were completely just done with that shit. I when I saw him going to jail, everybody was like, "That's Uncle Bill. They waited this late to get him. I mean, why didn't they just let it be? Like, no, lock his ass up. I don't give a damn how old you are.
Yeah.
If you are 69 years old and it comes up on you, you
Get
got to
it.
pay
You
your
gotta
time.
go. You gotta get it.
You
But
have
here's my
got to
thing.
go.
Here's my thing. I have absolutely no problem with if you do the crime, you pay,
Pay
the
the
time.
time.
I'm perfectly fine with that. My only issue is I want it to be equally as prominent for everyone.
Across the board.
Across the board.
Respected.
No matter, I don't care if you got money, I don't care if you black, you white, you whatever. You identify as something that you ain't. I don't give a fuck. Like, if you did it, then you need to own up to it. I think the hard part for me was that like they make examples out of black people a lot.
Welcome to America.
No, but that's my point. So I am not belittling what he did and saying he shouldn't be in jail. No, but I think it's just unfortunate that like when black people do something that's wrong, and again, this is coming from a hat of equality, including equal punishment for doing wrong
True
shit.
that.
Right.
So if you're gonna fuck up, everybody needs to get dealt with. They fuck up the same way.
Right.
That's my only concern. But he deserves to be in jail.
Right.
So did you feel a way when they locked up Jeffrey Epstein and then motherfuckers wondered if they had his ass killed in fucking in jail?
Well, they had him killed.
What messing with young folks and all that kind of stuff? Because at least that I know, we ain't got no black people here set up to kill in jail after they arrest him. Like that motherfucker went in there and they got his ass out.
But didn't they get him out because he had too much information on other people?
Right.
I don't
It's
know.
more
I don't
to
know about
that.
any of that.
I felt like from something I read, and
I think so,
and
too.
I
I
don't know
seen
if it's
that.
fact or whatever, so don't quote me, guys. But it was like he had to go because he knew too much about too many different
Everybody,
prominent people.
a lot of people were dealing in what he was dealing in.
Yeah,
as well.
Right.
But Bill Cosby ain't out here flipping on nobody. He ain't
Right.
Takashi and nobody.
No,
Right.
he not.
Can we
He just
back
had
to Bill
he
Cosby?
just had 50 women jumping out here talking about don't drink the mocha iced tea.
The
that
one
nigga
thing
is
I
serving.
do, the Bill Cosby case showed me something that I love about black people. It can be our downfall sometimes. But when he was talking shit about young kids and our rap music and he hated us for this and da-da-da, we couldn't stand him. It was F. Bill Cosby, he's unrelatable, he's judgmental, oh, that's dude. But when he
was.
got in
That's
trouble,
it.
not my Uncle Bill! We was behind that nigga 1,000%. And I appreciated that about black people, but at the same time, I was just like, y'all, we gotta stop doing
No,
that.
but
Black
that's
people
us.
support
We
through
are
trauma
good
That
for
is
more than
making
they
us.
We will make excuses and
We
support
will for our
anybody.
own.
Same as we will for Bill's
And that's
nephew.
what's right.
Robert,
Bill's nephew.
Robert,
Not his nephew, God.
Robert.
That is our thing. We will do that to our core. We will stand by the people that, for whatever reason, we believe in and feel are important to us. Robert Kelly has had the decade of a fucking lifetime. And I hope that his trauma continues into 2020. And that's all I have to say about
Wow.
that.
Well,
Can I just say though, I feel like he should get everything that's coming to him, but anyone associated with him, don't do them like that. Ron Isley ain't do nothing to y'all. And I
who's
shouldn't
trying to
have
get Ron Isley
Let
on
me
the
tell
hook?
you,
They wanna
when we
cancel
were
his music. You
canceling
can't
R.
cancel
Kelly,
Contagious.
Ron Isley?
they were
Contagious,
canceling
like Ron
songs.
Isley songs
They
that he
were
had
canceling songs that R. Kelly wrote, even you know what I'm saying, and
You
did
Are Not
background
Alone.
vocals for. Well, Marion said that after the B2K
They weren't gonna
tour,
do that one,
they
bump,
weren't
bump,
going to
bump.
do songs that R. Kelly. And
Gigolo.
I'm like, well, what else are you going to perform? Like, why would you do that. Like,
Well,
I get it because he used his power for evil, but Ron Isley, I'm not deleting Contagious, is all I'm saying.
Well, there are some people out there
doing
that
it.
believe that don't give a damn about how far you go when it comes to cancel culture. They want to fucking just scorch earth, destroy it all. And look, I'm on board with with Bill Cosby. A lot of people were saying, well, just delete it, but then some people were saying, well, you need to at least give some residuals to the people that were on the show and keep that going. If you want to cancel that show, then you cancel the show and do whatever. But I don't know if we necessarily need to go back and look and see every joke he wrote for people and be trying to take that out and all this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
It's just like, no, you don't need to do
You
all
can't
that.
And a lot of people who are diehard, I feel like are diehard is just because your shit ain't caught you yet. Like, if you've experienced life and you don't have that judgmental tone, you want people to, respectfully get what they deserve. But at the same time, you're not against rehabilitation because you've been rehabilitated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I just think because you haven't been caught yet is when you die hard. Try to cancel people, and I'm just not that high and mighty to be able to just
Bruce
die
Willis.
hard into, you know what I'm saying? Die
So
hard
you-
into a movement like that.
So I'm trying to say, Pinky, you're still going to be doing Robert Kelly's part on Contagious.
That's the best part.
And
No, it's not the best part.
It's not the best
was
part, but it's
Frank,
very.
Shut up.
That's true.
That
That's the
was the
best
best
part.
part.
So should we
That's the
just
best
cancel
part.
out his line?
No, we can't.
Should we cancel his line and just do everybody
No,
else's
we
verse?
can't. We
So
can't.
I should never went home with this bitch who's been
Be real quiet.
low down dirty women back to where you come from.
Right.
Baby, wait.
But wait,
Wait,
my
my
ass.
ass. That's true.
And then
Wait, how you know
what
what
that
it
is?
is? I can't do it.
yeah.
I need the whole thing.
yeah, it's
Okay.
That's unfortunate.
While the jury might be out on whether or not we cancel some of our favorite criminals, people that do need canceling and get taken out of here are motherfuckers like the young man Dylan Roof. I wanted to highlight him specifically because his massacre was more of a thing that was affected. It was a church, some place that I hold sacred, something that movie theaters, malls, clubs, those kind of things, but a church during Bible study. And then the way that nigga was
they
just
prayed
treated and
with him.
babied.
They prayed with him.
He was like he sat in there and enjoyed their company and then shot him up. So I wanted to
You got to be a special kind of evil. To do
right.
that.
Like what? Like, or maybe some people were like, he went in there because he was trying to figure out like, do I really need to be doing this, or like WTF is going on? Like, am I going to change my mind? Nah, you're an evil son of a bitch. And the way they let him like live and exist so quietly and happily in those moments following the shooting was ridiculous.
it was.
Fuck Dylan Roof, because he is just one in a line of many in the last 10 years that have lost their shit and taken out their issues on hundreds of people for no reason.
Well, in that same moment, we also got a chance to see our forever president get out there and mourn with everybody else and sing his Amazing Grace song that they play consistently over. It seems like with all of the mass shootings that we have in this year, they always go back to what Obama did in the last few years with his fucking.
You gonna go back to something that Trump did?
No.
You can't. That's what I'm saying.
You can't. It's like, well, this is what happened when the president was being presidential and honoring whatever what was going on. So I remember that was going on at that time too.
How President Obama handled was it Sandy Hook?
Yeah.
And like just that whole span of things that was happening. during
Sandy
his-
Hook, Dylan Roof, and Tucson, Arizona. I remember he had those people in there straight running around the auditorium in the spirit when
So
he was
how-
out there.
How I compare that, it's like Whitney Houston was saying the national anthem at the Super Bowl. Like I've never heard anybody sing the national anthem better than that.
Correct.
Like so, whenever someone like has a notable national anthem moment, it goes back to that. That's how I feel about President Barack Obama when he was doing that whole thing that he had to do during those times.
I mean, I think at that point you look to your leaders to.
Lead.
It's more than just
Period. Lead.
being on Twitter and just saying whatever about anything that comes up. It's like when we see you, it needs to matter, type
Exactly.
of thing. It's like we don't want to see you every day. We want to be able to lead our lives and know that you are handling whatever the stuff that we can't handle
That's my thing.
He in the shadows
Why are you
doing
on
it.
Twitter? How do you have time to do that?
every day,
Right.
every day.
And that's the difference to me between someone who leads you and actually cares about you versus someone who cares about the title and that's it.
Jesus. You play way too much. I'm about to run out of here. Did you think Jussie Smollett cared about his title?
On Empire?
On Empire?
He
cared about being a lion
He cared
on
so
camera.
much that he.
His name is Juicy
Smouye.
Smouye.
Smouye. How'd you feel about that?
I really listen. I was real black at the beginning, and I was just like, "No, my cousin didn't. Not my play cousin.
Well-
He wouldn't lie about nothing like that because you don't play like that. My auntie raised him better. Cookie would not put up with that.
In the beginning, I want to say I did. I think we said
We
it on this
really
show. Like, I
rallied
wanted
and
to
stood
believe that he didn't do that.
And then it just, as the we're reading more other than headlines, and you're looking, you're like, wait,
Wait a minute now, Juicy.
Juicy Smollett.
he was
Juicy
getting a
Smouye was out here
sandwich.
wilding.
Right.
It's
In the
not-
middle
With
of
a
the night.
noose around his neck.
Is Subway
Covered in
open at
bleach.
that time?
But-
Chicago?
but he
They
did-
known for other stuff than stuff.
Deep
Okay.
dish, not Subway.
So,
But apparently he's out here influencing other people to fake different things that are happening to them, i.e. the young lady here this
That
year.
shit tore me
Yes.
up.
Whatever.
I was pissed about
Trying
that.
not to go back to what, Nigeria or something like that? Or where was she going? Trying to not go back
Honduras.
to
Honduras. She
Honduras.
was Hispanic American, I want to say. Black Hispanic or something like that.
I just don't want to see it to the
Afro-Latina.
point where it's like,
Thank
well,
you.
black people are not committing crimes, but they are faking them. And that's not what
I don't want that.
I don't want any of that at all.
Well, I don't like it because we are a people that get the extent of a lot of violence. And
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want our future causes not to be taken seriously.
Like that part right there.
Who
Yes.
plays like that? Do we not have enough to do
So
and
much.
go through as black people to where now we're like, we don't have it good enough to fake pain?
Ooh.
Because
Put
we
that-
ain't got to
keep it up.
fake it.
Hold up.
On a t-shirt?
Najee, can you put it on the t-shirt real
Put it on
fast?
a t-shirt.
Okay. Well, look. Besides for faking pain, we have a lot that we can be grateful for. There were a lot of black people in our community
Amen.
that took pain that we had and pushed us
Amen.
forward.
Amen.
I.e., Chance the Rapper. What
No,
was that? The
skip
Kardashians.
them.
The Kardashians
We'll
are
come back
not,
to them. That's a
but
different part.
they've helped out a little bit.
Sure.
Well, notable people.
Notable. We're talking about notable people.
Yeah, no. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. If we came back to the notable part, yeah, but influential, not so
Notable.
much.
LeBron James.
Absolutely.
Oh. And we'll put a pause right there. He started that school. He's also has been influential even in his basketball playing game with bringing business to his city.
I think LeBron James. I'm gonna take a moment.
I ran out of breath there a little
It's
bit.
okay.
Did you catch me?
He has that effect.
Yeah, that's an
So
effect.
I think one of the biggest things that LeBron James, Steph Curry, Dwayne Wade. I'm talking about all three of them in this moment, and we'll get back to basketball later. I'm gonna have my own segment, but they have been notable, influential black fathers. And
Yeah.
to me, that has
Thank
been
you.
one of the
Yeah.
biggest things that I was able to
Thank
take
you.
from what they did. Shout out to the school, shout out to all the giving back, shout out
Thank
to
you.
all that stuff. But to
But
see
black fathers.
to see these people be and they all are fathering in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dwayne Wade's son now identifies as a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that is a whole different way. In the black community, that's a very
Unheard
different
of.
thing to think about.
Support wise from
And so,
from
like,
your father.
And so hearing how they are supportive of their kids, Steph got two girls and a boy. Like his love for his wife, and people are coming for her, and he's like the way that these people are being husbands and fathers. I don't know them
Right.
personally at all, but just what it looks like on paper, that has been some of the most influential shit over the last decade for me.
Definitely.
Love it.
On to the next one, Akon.
Yes, Akon has been out here,
Yes.
and that's some real shit. Just from a black man to another, that's been some real shit because there's been a lot of statistics that go out there. It's quick to say black men are not achieving this, or black men are not doing
Or
this,
they're not present.
or they're not present. But it's amazing how in your own life, or not even looking at celebrities, but in your own life, looking at black men being present, and it's just like, yeah, the United States is a whole lot bigger. It's 300 and some 30 million people or whatever, yada yada. But our statistics are going up as we start building the next generation and saying we are being influential.
Yeah.
We're playing a part. So you got to come a little bit better than when you try to lock us up and say we're not there. Beyonce.
Yeah, we had
was on the
we
list?
had our Beyonce moment, but she is culturally whatever for women, for everybody. And the more, like, I never realized how black she was until that Formation thing. I was like,
She's
well, this
from
is
Houston.
interesting.
Because she was very
Well, I know. Yeah.
off in the distance a little bit. You
Yes.
didn't know where she
Well,
stood
when she
at.
first came out, it was a different time. It was a very pop time, and you had
Yes.
to fit in. And
And Matthew, I was trying to figure it out.
right, and I think as she became independent on her own, and she got her nigga with a nigga nose, she was like, "Listen, this is what
Also
we're
known
doing,
as
She like her
and we're
baby
embracing this."
Did you say
And don't-
a nigga?
Yeah, she
With
did.
a nigga
Yes.
nose.
nigga
And she
nose.
like her baby hair with baby hair afro.
Yeah, she did.
Well, I mean, I don't know if y'all know this, but Beyonce looks like a real nigga without her makeup on. to be completely honest, like a real nigga, like a straight up nigga without her
I'll make
makeup
sure I stay
on.
away from you for the next few days because the hive cometh.
They probably will, but I mean, I'm serious. Without her makeup on, she look a straight up nigga.
Beyonce's
Like-
beautiful inside and out, makeup or no makeup.
Ooh.
I'm just saying, she looks
Yes,
like a straight
Stan.
up.
Have you met our friend Stan?
She's a nigga out there.
Just saying.
Beyonce does no wrong in Najee's eyes,
No.
and I appreciate
No,
it.
she can do wrong.
Okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, but she just looks like, oh that's a nigga. Like
You probably saw her in like her worst. They
Speak-
probably got the
Speaking
worst
of
profile
niggas
picture
looking
ever.
crazy without their
No.
makeup, the Kardashians, they,
But
as
the
much as I would
Speaking
not,
of niggas, crazy.
as much as
Right.
I would not want to give them their things, I would be remiss to not because I said to someone today because I was watching a video of Stormy getting a dollhouse that was as nice as this space in my home that we're sitting in right now, and I was like, she is a small person. Why does she have a dollhouse that's as big as my downstairs area of my home? Those people. Kris Jenner has the recipe of a fucking lifetime, and if I can just get her to give me an ounce of it,
Yeah.
so I
That's
can
what I'm
figure
saying.
out.
Just let me get a little.
Like,
So is it the Kardashians that are influential or notable? Is it Kris Jenner? Because she has Joe Jacksoned
well, because
that sex tape and
As a
made
whole.
them
Yeah.
into like a dynasty.
as a whole,
But they got to
are,
keep up their parts in order
They
for
do.
her
That's
to
And I
true.
would
run the
say
shit.
Because Mike still had to sing, even though
right.
Joe did
Once
whatever.
they brought their own personalities and influence into it, I mean, look at what Kylie did. She made that beauty brand worth $1 billion.
$1
That's
billion.
true.
You
With
know
a
what I'm saying? You
B.
can all be. You can
She's
always
a billionaire.
have some batteries in your back, but at the end of the day, you got to make it work.
Yes, and
You
then
gotta
in
make
here
it pop.
too,
You do.
I watched an interview on Ellen recently. Kim was actually talking about the fact that Courtney is tired of the shit. She's not with the shit as much as she used to be.
Right.
She wants to take a step back from it. She's like, I'm
She's
not
doing to for years,
really
though.
trying to do
She
this
has,
with
you
y'all
can
right
tell,
now.
and
tell her.
that's what they've been talking about lately.
So Chris is not puppeteering Courtney at this point. She's like, I'll come when I feel like it, and y'all do what you're gonna do.
I think in the
otherwise.
beginning she did more puppeteering than she is recently,
Yeah.
and now she has her own life and a nigga of her own,
Geppetto.
and they're grown. They got their own families
Yeah.
and stuff. Like she ain't even planning a Christmas party no more. Chris is retired, little do you know, and chilling.
Well,
Notably,
well, they've definitely adopted Kanye and taken him on to be influential in the church community. It seems like, even though, although I'll not take that away from him, he was
Yes.
always influential and notable even before
Yes,
he
he
got
was.
with
Yes.
the Kardashians.
but he turned it into everything he used to rap about. Is I think the major issue.
Well, yes, he has become something different.
You can see Najee's
and
face.
against whatever else. But if we go from 2010 to now, he has released probably some of his best albums, or at least two of them anyway. Was it Dark
Life of
Twisted
Pablo.
Fantasy and Life of Pablo? And he's always, whenever he talks, he gets the reaction he wants. We listen,
Yeah.
and we talk about him. And
He
that
is
makes
definitely
him,
somebody who I play cousin. Mm-hmm. You're not talking about a cousin like that. Yeah, he looking a little crazy, but that's still for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his art overcompensates. That's a lot of a lot of great art comes from crazy.
for the most part, it does.
And it really does. And at the end of the day, whatever you want to say about his personal life and how he's up in the Kardashian curse, as long as they didn't touch that art, I'm kind of okay.
I agree with you to an extent. I guess I feel like one of those Trump voters where you made a lot of excuses for Kanye. Like seriously, you made a lot of excuses for him. You'd be like, I don't give a fuck what he's saying. His art stands out. His art stands out. But some of these last few albums that then came out, like that gospel album, was not
Not it.
it for me.
I didn't listen
wasn't
to it,
good.
but it's
There,
trash.
you can tell people, maybe friends on your friends list, who was trying to force themselves to believe that was solid gold and he should get a Grammy for that one. No.
no,
He should get a wellness check for that one. Then they get this shit is trash.
But at the same time, but you could still see how maybe old Kanye would have used that album.
Not the new Kanye.
Not the new Kanye. This Kanye was just like
Kanye.
this Kanye was about him rapping and just being about himself. But he used a lot of samples and could have used a lot more people in choir that he was building up to be like, could have been something better. It was just like, somebody done got to your music and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But
Overall,
he was influential.
Wise.
yes.
He was influential.
2019, he done lost it a little bit more than I would have liked him to with this church and everything.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Anytime things like religion and like that goes to the masses, I try to respect people's views and everything. But when it seems like it's becoming real capitalistic, then I'm just like, listen, what are we doing this for?
Well, you know, Charlamagne the God made a good point. He said, when it comes to these artists, whenever they do different things, whether you like it or not, all of it is capitalistic because they're selling their brand,
Right.
and selling who they are,
Right.
So,
Yeah,
but
I
I tell you, who is not selling who they are? Nancy Pelosi is not out here selling
Give it
anything
up for Auntie Nancy.
that she has.
Now that's fam.
Nancy Pelosi has been the fucking villain to fucking Kanye, or maybe she's the hero to fucking Trump's
45, yes.
villain this whole time. She's not giving a damn about anything. So
Her, I don't even know that she's memed enough.
Her and
face.
Auntie Maxine, because we choose to go
Yes.
with Auntie Maxine.
This
so.
is true, and that's cool. But Nancy has been here for us. For all of us who were confused and upset during these last couple years, Nancy has been speaking for us.
I remember when she was getting ready to be elected Speaker of the House again from her Obama years, and they were saying, "Well, we need younger people to take over the generation. We need a young leadership to take over to battle Trump." And it's just like I couldn't imagine a younger person dealing with Trump in an old-fashioned way, like how Nancy is doing
Right.
it. Nancy is like, "No, we have rules, so this is what the fuck it's going to be." And if you don't like it, I'm still the Speaker of the House. Anybody else would have been
Right.
all on. She ain't got to be on Twitter.
Right.
She ain't got to
See,
be on Facebook.
And when you say younger, that's what I just keep going towards. Anyone younger, it would have been Twitter finger.
Twitter
Like,
finger,
yeah.
Facebook. She's just like, no, I know exactly what the House holds, the power that I have. So I will do this. And if you're not with it, then we'll just fucking go along until you get with it, motherfucker. So,
Period.
I think that it's been really cool to, because you mentioned Auntie Maxine, I think it's been cool to see how people that we might not have heard of otherwise
Right.
have been able to step up and be heard and be known because of 45 and all his bullshit.
True.
Because I don't pay attention to politics to the point where I would have known a Kamala Harris or
Right.
a Maxine, what's her last name?
Waters.
Waters. Or even, who else?
That
Jesus.
Any of those other people.
Don't let it escape
I
you.
wouldn't
Stay
have-
with it.
I wouldn't have known them otherwise.
Shout out to social media
Yes.
because they're my political go-to. That's I'm sorry, that's my CNN. It's my generation. That's my go-to. If I need to know what's going on, then I am smart enough and I'm old enough to research it later. But that's where I get my headline to know what to research.
I just want to make sure that we don't skip over the Obamas
Let's not.
before we get on to social
My
media.
forever family.
Yes.
Thank you to the Obamas. We appreciate you. We love you. We miss you.
We'll always love.
They jumped out of the White House and they were like, we're taking over Netflix. We're taking over the book sales.
When are they coming to
Spotify.
Netflix? 'Cause I'm so ready.
I don't know.
I'm so ready for
But
whatever
let-
they bring
let
to
your-
Netflix.
It's
Let your
2020,
current,
right? It's
let
coming
your
up.
current president tell it, Obama, Netflix? Somebody needs to fucking
That's
investigate
the way
that.
I felt about Trump, Twitter. Right. For
Stay
the
with it.
Obamas, going back to what Najee was saying about influences, to see a leader like that with a black wife.
Yes.
I mean, she black.
Yes.
Technically, they both leaders.
Yep.
Okay,
They
come
both
on.
leaders.
Come on.
They both leaders.
But in the beginning, he got most of the platform, and to see black love like that,
Yeah.
and genuine and no controversy, and in my president, and because I'd never seen that before, it just made me feel so proud.
No. They had controversy. Remember that tan suit he had on? That
And
thing was
her arms
ri-
were out.
That
And
and her arms were out.
Yeah, besides the tan suit and the arms, which I can take, it was a big
rest of
freaking
America
deal. Right, it was a big freaking deal back then. I'm like, but he looks amazing.
It has been one of the joys of my life to watch them, and I know it's weird. Some people might think it's strange to like really give that many damns about it, but I love them.
I
like
do. I do.
They're inspiring. It's like it's crazy to watch.
They are
and see.
inspiring.
Like hearing And sometimes, like maybe it's because I'm a woman, but I love hearing Michelle talk about anything, like the way that she reaches people and talks.
It's not because
like,
you're a woman.
but I'm not like
I
I guess to finish the statement, sometimes even more than Barack. Like when I hear her talk, I'm like this is crazy.
Well,
I love hearing whatever she's saying.
I felt like they came into power, but they kept their genuineness. They stayed the same people that they were in Chicago.
And they're two different people.
Yes.
They are two very different people.
I love
But
the fact
that work together.
very well. And she came out blazing on her own, in her own right. And he was so supportive of that, which normally you don't see a lot of black men do for their wives. Not as if it's a favor, but just showing that much support and letting her soar.
Well, you remember? I don't know if y'all remember this when they first started out, and Barack was on the campaign trail. They were trying to paint Michelle Obama as an angry black woman.
Of course.
They were trying to paint her as angry black woman, and now she damn near on the same scale as Oprah with making white women cry.
And Ellen.
And Ellen. I remember before when they left out the White House, she was doing a speech because she had a heart for like the students and stuff like that. She was doing the thing for the teachers, and she was talking about how, don't be afraid. Trump had just got elected. Don't be afraid of the future. I'll be there with you. Whatever, yada. I'm saying them white folks was told they was like,
And they've still been very present.
yes,
They know we still need them. That's what it is.
exactly.
They haven't left us, and I do really genuinely appreciate that they didn't stop the work that they started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to the Obamas now and always.
All right, so look, enough about the Obamas. They have been capturing everything in our lives. They've just owned the decade. But we are moving on to social media because it's been a definite influential part of our whole entire lives.
True that.
Like dating apps, IG, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter,
All that shit.
YouTube, even our fucking God.
Definitely.
Do they have an app?
Not the Pornhub.
Do they have an app?
They don't have an app, but they do have free week subscriptions. And
That I did not know.
Bruh, I'll tell you offline about it.
That noise. Please never do that again.
I thought you about. But look, we have a whole episode on social media, to be completely honest, and how social media work because, with logistics, politics, business, and everything else.
Tap twice.
Tap twice. But because we
Great
have
episode.
we have Pinky here and she does
Oh, you heard it?
Come on, guys.
You know.
I'm your biggest fan.
She's-
That's why I'm here.
She's the viewer's choice.
Why I'm closing out the year, because nobody listens like Pinky Lee.
True.
Yes.
Even though
I
she
love
just
it.
started like 2 weeks ago, but you know what?
Don't do that.
But real talk, Pinky, how has social media influenced you in this fucking last decade?
That's my whole platform, pretty much. You get a lot of support. I mean, it's a bridge gapper from people you don't even know, just people you have things in common with that you wouldn't know otherwise. I think it's if used responsibly, it's a very beneficial tool to get you in contact with your community and your audience. I love the fact that you can pretty much promo yourself without, in some certain instances, having to pay for it or paying too much for it. Social media is how a lot of people have built their careers. It's no longer about figuring out or being on the inside of the business with going to auditions.
Right.
And, your resume is kind of your page. Because at this point, everything is about how can I get my product, my show, my movie to people. And social media is the way to do it now. How many followers you have, how many people you can influence is now your leverage. It's a lot of people, no shade, but it's a lot of people who aren't even necessarily that talented. It's just they're the thing right now. And because they can influence so many people, social media has a lot to do with that. Like that's your biggest leverage at the end of this decade. Social media is your biggest leverage as an entertainer.
Can I jump in for a second?
Please.
So, thinking about Facebook when we first got started in the early part of the decade, where
missed that.
where we were amazing just to put what was my shit? Some about to be a millionaire last name. Starting off at that point,
Right.
and then moving to where we are right now. Do you see the significant difference between where it was and where it is now?
At first, it was something fun to do to express yourself.
Right.
Now, social media is a business.
Yeah, it is.
And how you handle it and act accordingly, that can make or break you. Like, that's the whole thing we were just talking about, cancel culture. What you even posted back then in 2010 can affect your job in 2019. So now social media was at first just a connection thing, just a communication thing.
Right.
And now it's a brand. It's a business.
Do you think we need to get back to that point?
Not necessarily, because I think we do have to keep up with trends. And I think that's kind of going back to saying we should stop using Netflix. You know how Blockbuster laughed at Netflix when it first came out, and now look at it. Where's Blockbuster? So I just think we kind of have to keep up, and especially as entertainers, we have to act accordingly. But the way you last is to actually be talented behind your influence.
Sounds good. Well, let me push you just a little bit.
Please.
So you don't mind the fact that I understand the brand aspect of it and making sure that you adapt and using the technology as it was. What about everybody else who is not an entertainer and they're using it just to belittle and using it to denigrate or criticize other people or whatnot? Do we think?
I have never heard the word before in my life.
Do you think that it should be?
LSAT.
Do you think for the regular average user who is not using it for
How you spell that, Colin?
for entertainment should be they should kind of like peel it back for everyone else?
Criticize.
I
Sorry,
think-
for those of you who don't denigrate,
And this goes back
criticize
to-
unfairly
go ahead.
or disparage. Denigrate.
Denigrate.
Denigrate someone.
DENIGRATE. Denigrate.
Get it, Brad?
Denigrate me, baby.
Not to be confused with those of us who had public school education. Bully.
Yes. There you go.
Clearly.
I think that's going to be the case, period. People who aren't in entertainment and they're using social media to I don't support that in any aspect. It's kind of everything is going to have a con that has a pro. But I also think that
And pro con list.
period, and those are very important. Yes, earlier conversations. I think that you're going to have those people regardless. You're always going to come into the insecure and the unsure of themselves, so they have to bully other people to make them feel better. We're no stranger to that.
Right.
It's just now that we have a bigger platform for that. But I think it's nothing wrong with the average person who just wants to use it to connect with people, or share your family or your lives with people who you may not have access to otherwise. People aren't staying in their hometowns and things like that anymore, but you can stay connected using social media. I think social media is a genius way. It's a money saver, because now we're not using things like stamps and gift cards and sending pictures.
Stamps.
Stamps. What is a stamp? You know what I'm saying? You now have access to get in touch with your family. For one, my family, we have a group chat, and I'm not talking about my mom, my sister, and all of that. I'm talking aunts and uncles, and we have a family group chat thanks
All
to
them
social.
niggas.
Thanks to social media, we know what's going on in each other's lives. Holidays aren't as awkward because I already know what you. I'm not gonna ask y'all some questions.
No third degree here.
You know what I'm saying? But also, I think it's good because it gave someone who wanted to break into the industry but didn't have as much access. It gives them the opportunity.
It sounds,
think
it
that's
sounds like
important.
what you're saying is the good outweighs the bad.
It definitely does to
Okay.
me. It definitely does to me. And let me tell you something. Bonding with someone you don't know via an ignorant post and just getting a good laugh with a stranger, sometimes that makes my whole day. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that makes my whole day. And coming together as a cause, and it's not, I think it's more important to reach information as well, because now it's instant. Now I know what you're talking about. I saw the article, I saw the post, or I saw what was going on.
Yeah.
As before, it took a while for information to travel a little bit, and our causes and movements kind of go further thanks to social media.
Well, speaking of bonding with someone that you may not have known, we've had a lot of movements and causes such as the Time's Up movement, where people were bonding unwittingly. Well, maybe they did not know, maybe they did know them. So social media has also been a catalyst for those different things.
And think about how long those things stayed a secret because we didn't have social media to
That's
help
true.
people
That
and
part.
stuff like that.
That's
Yes.
true. That's true.
Yes.
because I deal with, and I try to be, and I know Najee does as well, try to be one of those people where it's like, if I don't know too much about the subject, I don't really want to talk about it too much. But I remember when Time's Up, Me Too, All Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, but especially Me Too and Time's Up happened, there were situations where I would hear different women say different things like, oh, well, you know, why do women have to get on the social media and blast out what someone is doing and all this kind of stuff? And, you know, you want to try and make a little argument for like, well, this is someone finding their voice, and it doesn't matter how long it took, you know, it came out finally, and you can finally put somebody on blast. But at the same time, it's just like, ooh, you're also a woman in that class, so I can't really necessarily be saying too much about it.
But at the
sounding
same
ignorant.
time, like if we're going back to let's use Bill Cosby as an example. The deposition he did was from 2005. Thanks to social media, we're hearing more about it when his case and stuff came up like that. They didn't have access like that back then. And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
A lot of things were allowed and swept under the table because they didn't have a voice. And social media has given a voice to many an important cause.
Right.
And now we're not standing for it, and we're uniting. If it was a march or a protest or a movement going on in your town, that's kind of what you do about. Now you know that you're not alone in the situation that you're in, and that people all over the world are dealing with what you're dealing with because we have access to it.
I am here with you.
And that's like, what was that
So it's
night?
trippy.
There was a night here in Charlotte where something was going on uptown that the news didn't. I saw it first on social media. It was maybe some sort of protest. I want to say it was after the.
It was a Black Lives
Keith
Matter
Scott?
movement.
It was something with that. It was at night.
It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and something had just like popped off uptown, and like the news didn't cover it yet, but I saw it on somebody's social media. I was like, what is this? And then like I looked on social media, and then like an hour later, Channel 9 was down there talking about it. But I was like,
Was that
oh
when
wow.
the guy got shot?
That's what I'm
When he
saying.
was in
Keith
his
Scott,
car?
maybe,
Was it the one
it was the
his
protest
car
after he.
had an accident or something like that? He tried to go to a house
that-
to get.
No, that was something different.
No,
I
that
think
was
this
something
is the
different.
one where the
This
guy
one
was
was
like
he was
waiting for
actually
waiting
shot
by
by
the
the
bus or
police.
something like that. He was waiting for that Grandkid come off the bus or something like that. And it was up there off
It was
of
right
It was
after the
the
Bad Boy
University.
reunion.
Yeah.
It was right after that.
Yeah, that was the same night because it was I want to say that he was sitting in his car waiting for someone to come off the bus up there off of Old
Reading
Concord
his
Road.
book, right?
Yeah.
Yes, reading a
And
book, and
then-
they said he had a gun, right?
Yeah, and then they shot him, and then
Right.
the night turned into because we had to come back through the traffic through that.
Yeah.
And they had
Right.
like stopped.
Yeah.
By the
85
time
and
we
the
got
whole-
Right.
home, it was just like, what the fuck happened?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah,
Right.
it turned.
I remember because my aunts and uncles were calling me like, "Are you part of this protest? Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I was like, "I'm in my bed chilling.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yes, same.
What's happening
Yeah.
here?" Like,
Right.
but it was very serious.
Yeah.
So that goes to the Black Lives Matter movement, Black Girl Magic, Black Boy Joy.
Love that.
What is Black Boy Joy? Does anybody know that?
I think it's just a way to kind of include black niggas. 'Cause-
in Black Girl Magic and
Black
highlighting
niggas.
black men because we don't or didn't. I think we do so much better at it now than we used to at giving positive black images of men. We didn't used to, but we're doing a lot better with it now.
I think black.
it's-
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Right.
I think Black Boy Joy was also to change the narrative.
Yes.
We are black men are taught in this country to be a certain way, over sexualized, very tough, very violent. And this was sending a message that it's okay to be happy with your life. It's okay to love your wife and your kids. It's okay to love your job. It's okay to smile. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to figure out and break your generational curses. It's okay to be a black boy in America and have joy.
Yes.
You don't have to carry everything and everyone on your back and try to stand for something. You can just be happy with who you are. It's okay to talk a certain way and still be a black boy. It's okay to dress a certain way and still be a black boy. It's okay to be you, and you're still included in our community, and you're still loved even if you're different. I think it meant way more than just, well, let's give the guys something because black girls have magic. I think it was definitely changing the narrative.
Wow, hearing you explain that blew my fucking socks off. To be completely honest, I
as a black boy, I didn't know that.
didn't know that that's exactly what that was about. I would see different hashtags about it, but
I've got joy when I
it
think
wasn't.
about
It wasn't just
I'm an onion. I got
inclusive.
depth.
It wasn't inclusive. It was like no, every layer that you could possibly
Yes.
think of.
Yeah. No, this wasn't the offset. This was your own movement. This was just something for you to have. Enjoy your life, enjoy your decisions, enjoy being different without claiming and having to live up to the stereotypes that have been given to you because white men were scared that you were with their women.
So,
Right.
funny part about that is,
Right.
I think that, and let me speak for you if this isn't how you feel, but the fact that neither one of us put that much emphasis into the movement
Is a problem.
just shows how much the movement was probably needed.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Exactly.
shit.
And it also shows that how much responsibility we're also taking from not only breaking our that's not on the paper. Not breaking our I didn't even know we were gonna discuss this. Not breaking our own generational curses.
She got notes.
But making sure our kids don't
Yes.
have to deal with the
Yes.
responsibilities as a kid that, necessarily we did and we have to carry. Be aware of what you're dealing with in America, but be happy with who you are in
I
this
like
country.
that. That's it.
You know what? I'm gonna push back just a second, and it's not
Always.
it's not a hard pushback. It's an agreement type pushback. It's just that I think me and Najee, and let me know if I'm not speaking for you, Najee.
Okay.
Just seeing our circle of friends and the black guys that we deal with, I think our Black Boy Joy is kind of like everything that you have laid out, like we have listed. Our Black Boy Joy, we are owning who we are, and we are just doing exactly what it is. But it's hard when you're in a bubble and you don't know what the other black boy is dealing with in like Philadelphia, or the other black boy that's dealing with in Louisiana, or the other black boy that's dealing in Wyoming,
Right.
and what they're going through. So it's
I still don't know what they're going
important.
through, but
Still don't know, but
Okay.
it's
They can tell us.
it's important to know that you are not alone.
yeah.
Something else to add with Black Boy Joy is that you can have joy together without it seeming as if you're signifying or claiming a sexual preference. Esquire,
Oh.
you can tell Najee that you love him, and we're not going to look at you like y'all got
Yes.
something funny
Oh,
going
we've had
on.
plenty of those moments.
Which is
But I'm
which is
saying
so funny
publicly
that-
as
Yeah.
a culture,
Yeah.
that's what we
Yes.
do to black men.
So I think that's the one of the things that kept me from like identifying as much with the movement as I kind of understand now, because that's how I lived my life as long as I've lived. And if you don't fuck with me because of it, you just don't fuck with me. That's on you. But like, I don't know one of my friends, one of male friends that don't know that I love them, and I haven't told them I love them, drunk or not drunk.
And we've all said it.
Bro,
Right.
Our whole group
Vocally.
has
it's
said
almost
it.
like we say that shit now.
Yeah.
Like, just like, oh, bro, man, I miss you, man. I love you, man. Like, how you been? Like, it's just.
And we don't even
And-
just that. We
and-
hug. We
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hug.
not
and do
not to
different
say that
things.
black men haven't always been in touch with their feelings. The point is, you can now do it publicly without feeling like you're taking on the burden of, oh, people are watching me and I got to keep my masculinity because I'm black and I'm a man.
But I think I think that talks to how many the different areas that you're a part of can change what you can feel like you're comfortable to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in where I was brought up and what I've kind of dealt with in my life, I've always been okay to operate in that space. I've never felt any kind of way about it. But there are people who in their
cannot.
space they can't operate that way because
And that's because their fathers weren't allowed to, or they didn't have one. And then because their mothers had to overcompensate, she was trying to make sure that she made a very masculine man, because the tale is, you'll grow up a certain way if you're
Yeah.
only raised by a woman. So a lot of black women
you
are
wanna wear a
harder.
dress, you a girl.
Yeah, are harder, if you notice, on their sons because they're trying to prepare them and mold them for this world. And that's very damaging and detrimental to their relationships with other men and relationships with
Yes.
their partners.
But can I push back just a
Yeah,
little bit on
please.
that too?
No follow up.
I don't no follow up. I think that also the same regards to our black women. It's just like we expect our black women to be tough. We expect them to be someone that carries the burden, the one who keeps the household together. And anytime you show any type of weakness, it's just like you can't afford to do that.
Right.
We need you to be the ones that's the backbone of the family and everything like that. And we need you to always be strong without showing emotion. If you do show emotions, it's like, damn, what the fuck is happening where you got to be crying?
Yeah.
Or
type
if you're
shit.
too passionate,
Yes.
then you're angry.
Type thing.
Rather than gone through something to where you have a right to express that hurt or whatever it may is. And both of those movements helped each other because now we can be supportive of each other and see each other in a non-stereotypical light.
Right.
And, Black Girl Magic and Black Boy Joy, it also spoke to the talents that we have in our community other than, like, think about how many influencers you see on social media
Yeah.
that have nothing to do with entertainment. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
cool to be a man and tell other men you know, be a good man in your relationship. You don't have to be a
Right.
player. You don't have to be a dog. You don't have to be, and that's kind of also a part of both of those movements.
Rough.
Is the relationships we have with each other.
Well, shout out to both Black Boy Joy and
Yeah,
Black
man.
Girl Magic being connected by melanin and
and not being taken down by the others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like our Black Joy, our Black Boy Joy, our Black Girl Magic.
They're not in
Melanin.
competition with each other.
Well, no, not being taken down by things like All Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. So
I got you.
where those have more of they have negative things attached to them. But these other ones, I think it's found a way for us to say, yes, these things are happening to us. And they're very real and we hate that shit. But
Right.
at the same time, we also exist in this space.
Yes.
And I think that's very helpful.
And
And very
contrary
cool.
to our boycotts, I do appreciate that these movements have had longevity. They've been consistent. We've been loyal to them. They've changed. They've
well,
changed the
social
game.
media has helped. So-
Yes.
Yes.
They've changed the
especially
game.
with Kaepernick taking that knee.
Yeah.
And regardless if you hate it or love it, it sparked a conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah,
did.
it did.
And it sparked a whole conversation,
It did.
especially in our sports
Sports
community.
are powerful
Sports is powerful.
Yeah.
And they don't want them to be, but they are.
because who runs the sports? Like if you look at who's the majority of people that are in sports, in terms of the notable sports, golf is a big sport, NASCAR is a big sport. I get all that. I'm not diminishing that. But if you look at the sports that hold the most pull in like the pop culture, we're talking about football and basketball.
Period.
Right.
Right.
And those two are heavily dominated in terms of the players by African Americans.
African American.
Right.
Now owners, whole nother conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Of
Coaches,
course.
whole different conversation.
Right.
But when in terms of the players come. So when Colin Kaepernick and like all these other notable players were taking a knee for police brutality,
Yes.
they weren't taking a knee to protest
Against the
The
flag.
flag and
Like,
soldiers and the veterans.
it's like, come on, guys. Like, let's be very, very clear. They were taking a stance about, and they were very open about what they were taking a stance on. It
Yeah.
wasn't that, oh, this is a silent stance. You don't know what we're doing. You can kind of make up your own narrative. They told you exact. Like he had socks
Yes.
that were protesting police brutality and things of that nature. So it's like for people to kind of change the narrative to be whatever they felt that it would be easy for them to kind of take and run with
Yeah.
or fit what they wanted it to say.
So you'll be comfortable. You don't have to deal with the actual issue we're talking about.
Exactly, which is now, truth be told, this taking a knee has taken a left over the years because people have lost track of, as
Oh, yeah.
Esquire
Yeah.
has had a saying as long as I've known him, don't lose track of the message. And people
That's
have
good,
really
Pat.
lost track of the message because they think that it's about the flag or something else. And it's like, come on, that's not what it's about. So,
Right.
so to keep, I think that's one of the things about social media and things of that nature is you can kind of get lost easily
Exactly.
and you can kind of miss out on. It's like you can get lost and just be like, "What are we talking about?" It's like, yeah, come back to the point. You got to have somebody kind of wrangle in the sheep. That's what Coley does.
Well, no, Pinky said something about that earlier. She's like, I'm gratefully, I'm smarter now, and I can take in and decide. Okay, I'm going to see that.
Right.
Here's my headline. Let me go check this out because
Right. Do my own research.
Right.
and that's what's important in times like this. Like all the you can get behind all this stuff, but like how much do you really know before you decide you want to start hashtagging everything or getting upset about everything?
And some people don't. Social media has allowed you to I just want to be in the number, Lord.
Yeah,
This the hashtag we're doing this week? Let's
Cool.
do it.
tag me.
Tag me.
Well, speaking of sports, Nashi, has there been anything in this last decade?
Yes,
Within this last
the answer
sports?
is yes.
But, yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. I'm going to let you take over.
The answer is so aside from the Colin Kaepernick thing, which I think was a very notable moment in terms of like the rights, there were an equal thing on the opposite side in terms of like the NBA. Well, not the opposite side, like a different portion, because like LeBron James, D Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Paul all had a very similar thing that they were doing. To where they were all, I think it was the ESPYs, they all stood up and they were talking about what these issues were. And it's like, these people are, so we're in a different time. So if you think back to like back when Muhammad Ali and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Joe, what is his name? The football guy from the Cleveland Browns.
Joe Brown?
Yes. When they were all doing things back in the day,
Yeah.
that was more civil rights, like in terms of like we don't have any. Now it's like, let's take the civil rights that we have and let's keep moving them forward.
Yes.
Because let's not lose track of the message because we got shit we got to talk about. So to me, over the last 10 years, the NBA has really taken a strong stance in like moving pop culture, whether it be political things, or whether it be just kind of other social presence or whatever. So if we look at like the bigger picture, like we talked about earlier, D Wade, LeBron, and Steph Curry being fathers.
Right.
How that's kind of like pushing everything from there, and how influential that is. Even though I didn't think about that until today, about how that kind of works for me. But like when you look at what they're doing, people are doing in sports, like and stepping outside of their brand. Like LeBron James got $1 billion contract from Nike. Like that's fucking ridiculous.
Yes, that's
And
insane.
It is. And like all these different people who are like getting different platforms to kind of push because they're getting whatever it is that they need. And it comes from being able to play basketball very well and kind of pushing it from there. So
But your retirement plan has become really lit at this point.
Yes.
absolutely. Because they got something to do afterwards. And so like I think that this last decade, we've seen a lot of player empowerment. So even starting with LeBron, when he went from Cleveland to Miami, and you saw how that was a fucking ripple effect. People were upset.
People were upset like
People
a
were
motherfucker.
like
burning his jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, and calling him everything but a child of God, as Esquire would say.
Yeah.
And it's just like Esquire has some of the greatest one-liners. Stop it. Take the compliment.
I didn't say
You
anything,
were
bro.
about
I'm
to.
listening. I was about to say, I'm just listening. Go
He
ahead.
was going, I'm just a vessel.
Another
That's the
Esquire
one.
one-liner.
Anyway, they were burning his jersey.
So people have been kind of running with the NBA stuff for a while now. So players have gotten more power, and we're even looking at older players who've retired, and kind of seeing how they're coming back on the scene, whether it be via being an analyst, whether they're being like they got their own podcast. I never knew how much I needed to hear ex NBA players talk
them
about
old heads. That's it.
this shit is pure gold. So like Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson have the Knucklehead podcast where they kind of pull up on different people and talk about different shit that are going on. That podcast is golden. CJ McCullough has the Pull Up podcast, and he was a journalist. He was a journalism. What's the word I'm looking for? He majored in journalism.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just had to say it a different way.
Yes.
When he was at Lehigh, I believe, and so his podcast has a very editorial feel to it. It doesn't feel like just some niggas chit chat. Like he has facts and like details and all that kind of stuff, and to be able to see the other side of these people who are hyper masculine. What's the word? How do you say that?
Hyper masculine or
Just hyper masculine.
yeah.
That's how they like portray them to be
Hyper
like
masculine.
hyper masculine.
Get into that too.
and they
Hyper-masculine.
kind of get into like people pair them as they just really good athletes, and it's like no, there's so much more to that.
It's not a shut up and play type
It's not
incident.
a shut up and dribble at all, which is
Not at all.
another fucking thing that happened during the last decade. But like seeing people who were icons to a lot of these people.
Kobe won an Oscar.
Kobe, because that fucking when he retired and he did that, was it More Than a Game?
Yeah.
That was absolutely amazing. He was fucking drawing. Who would have thought that
Right.
Kobe Bryant was going to do that? Now Kobe Bryant was smart as shit. He scored damn near perfect SATs when he left high school, but whatever. People don't talk about that. That was a couple
He
decades
was
ago.
very intelligent.
And I think he still is. And like you see like how he's working with his daughter, and because she's a fucking monster. But I think that being able to take people who have these like typical masculine roles of being a sports person and being able to show the multiple dimensions. LeBron James with the shop, like all
That
these
shit's
different.
gold. I
It's
love that
great.
shit.
Like, it's on fucking HBO.
I didn't, to be honest, I didn't even know how I would feel about that show. And I'll be honest, I did not watch the first episode of that until they had Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
This last episode.
This
then?
last episode.
Okay.
None before that, really?
I had not watched any
Wow.
of them,
That shit's good.
but they're legitimately having good conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know. I just didn't know how the athletes were going to talk. Like LeBron James, I didn't know how he was going to talk.
I had that
on
same
there.
thought.
So
when you look at how athletes talked before, I think athletes now have a very different amount of PR work or whatever to be able to speak
True.
more eloquently. Because before, like you hear some niggas talking, they used to be like,
I could call the ball. He say, I throw the ball.
that's it. That's how it was. When Charles Oakley used to talk, niggas would be like, oh, Oak, Uncle Oak, stop it.
turn that shit off.
However, now, here
throw the ball away.
exactly. Like old
Coach say
Shaq,
dribble,
old
slide
Shaq interviews
dribble.
were terrible. I don't know who is in their PR camp, but they got these niggas right.
Oh, God,
just-
that was magic.
Wasn't it?
because I think at this point, the NBA, NFL, NHL, that's turning into more of a business or celebrity type thing for real.
More
For real.
NBA. I think I definitely feel it's more NBA than all of the other ones.
Okay.
And I am biased, yes, but I think if you look at the amount of from me in the culture of black folk, let's just put it that way.
Gotcha.
NHL, I don't know how many niggas is in NHL.
It's more cameras on you and you're more exposure, so you need more people to see how the fuck you were talking.
Also, with
Than just
with football,
sound bites.
you only get them without their helmets for a small portion of the game. NBA, there's no helmets the entire time, so you see what they're saying the whole time on the court. So
That's true.
I'm sure someone caught Kevin Garnett telling Carmelo Anthony his wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios because he ain't had no hood on, no helmet on. So like,
Wow.
yeah, that shit was wild, and he was very upset. I think it was this decade. That
Yes,
was this
it
decade.
was this
It
decade.
was definitely this.
It was this
He was
decade.
very
bro.
upset. So when we think about just the amount of influence that these people have over the culture as a whole, more than just sneakers.
Yeah.
Because now we're getting to see the other side of them. We just knew before, oh, you got dope sneakers, which they weren't the only ones who were part of it. But their thoughts and their words and their stories, that's just them.
Yeah.
And they really do. I think they do a great job. Even Captain Jack, Steven Jackson, and I'm seeing his face. I can't remember his name. Played for the Warriors for a little bit, but Matt Barnes.
Okay.
They have another podcast called All the Smoke, and like just hearing them talk about different shit gives a whole different perspective
Barnes is
as to
hilarious.
what's actually out there
Right.
and what you as a black male seeing these different figures. That's like it's okay to speak well, or it's okay to have gone through something, and it's okay to have like come up from your struggle.
Hashtag Black Boy Joy.
There you go.
See, and I promise
You
you,
didn't put
until
that
right now, I
together?
didn't put it together. But watching all of these niggas like express themselves and it actually affected me, like I literally can sit down and listen to these NBA shits for hours and be perfectly fine.
Wow.
And it's been really great for me, like because they develop you without you thinking that you're getting developed. You just have it's like you talking to your old head or whatever, your old uncle
right.
or whatever. And it
Barbershop.
that feels like it's barbershop
Barbershop
conversation.
talk.
May I?
Please.
I've also noticed, in that same sense, as someone who I like football, that's my sport of choice if I'm going to be watching or whatever. I was watching the Heisman Trophy ceremony 2 weekends ago, and the young men that because I'm very particular about like watching people talk, like what they say, things that they're doing. The young men that were the finalists, I was sitting there watching, thinking to myself, "Oh, they're very saying what you will." I was like, they are very well spoken. Like,
Well spoken.
and I was
Articulate.
I was surprised because what you see is them not being. You see that they've got these football moms and dads, and they're pushing them about football.
Right.
But these
Dumb
young
jock,
men,
the
yes,
stereotype, yeah.
3 of them black, 1 of them white. And to be completely honest, the 3 black guys were actually more articulate and more comfortable than the young white kid. And and he wasn't terrible, but it was just like watching them sitting there talking, and their moms and dads talking about how no, we not taking no shit. He know what he's supposed to be doing. Football this, but yes, you're schooling whatnot this. Like these young men, he leaving Ohio State with the 3.0 and whatever else. I'm like, that's what's up, and these kids need to hear that. Because what I used to my cousins all the time, like, yeah, you can run that ball, but what are you gonna do if you break your neck?
Right.
Like, get it together.
And I think it's less flash in sports
Yes.
nowadays too. It's more about being a businessman. You know, it's less let's get women and money and jewelry, and it's actually like, no, let's get these endorsements and these contracts and these businesses and give back to our community.
and you need
I
to learn
think
how to read so that when they hand you your money
exactly,
and your contract, you
and
know what you
nobody's
get.
screwing you over. Right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Shout out to Antoine Walker who got screwed with his money. He's broke. At least he was.
But they're
historically
doing better
speaking.
with that. And they're doing more with it now, and I think that is so cool. Like you see them all over the place, like Steph Curry with his old Under Armour thing, like, and they're just all, like Colin Kaepernick just got another Nike deal that with the Air Force One new release thing. I'm like, that's nuts. Like he's not even playing, and their Nike is riding for him, which I think is very cool.
Yeah, I do like that.
But at the same time, how much is that recognizing? I don't really know how to say this. Recognizing Black Boy Joy or athletic prowess, and how much is that just catching on to the social movement? Because I felt like
that's always going to be the big companies. That's always going to be about their
capitalism
$90.
is always going to be
That's
there.
always
But
going to
it's
be the undertone.
As the person who is in the like you being the individual, so it's no longer about teams. So with this whole move of like the NBA and all that stuff, it's been a lot less about teams, more about an individual. So now that you're the individual, you get to kind of you get to kind of steer the narrative. And I think that is why it's like, yes, you might be capitalizing off of this, which I completely understand. However, in order for you to capitalize off of what I got going on, this is what I need to have in place. And you don't have a replacement. There's no replacement for LeBron James.
Period.
At all.
But I felt like with Kaepernick, I felt like it was Nike, and we talked about this on our Super Bowl episode, is with Nike taking a stand and saying, hey, you know what? Either we were going to agree with what you were doing or we weren't going to agree with it. And they agreed with it. And they made a profit off of it.
They did.
You know, thankfully for being on the right side of history, I guess, capitalism or whatever, yada, yada. But they took a side when some of these different things that were happening. I don't know about an endorsement deal that Muhammad Ali had when he was protesting the Vietnam War. Where he was like, I'm not doing this shit. It was just like, you're a traitor and you're un-American type shit that he was getting. But I was just throwing that out.
But you're also allowed in today's day and age to have an opinion.
Yes.
And your opinion can be an unpopular opinion. You can think that Michael Jackson was bullshit and niggas ain't gonna kick you out. At least not the first half.
And that's
to
true
Pink.
because I'm known to kick niggas out my house. Shout out to me.
We have been, how many times have we been
I'm
kicked out?
known to
A
kick
lot.
people out.
Right. She was.
They sit across from each other for a reason.
She was. She
So,
was.
I
Put
think
your shoes
that-
back on and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I don't know you. I don't know you. I know you, but if you came with
Come
them, you
on,
gotta
man.
go
That's
too.
a common thing.
I guess it is. But I think that these are all moments that these big companies they're gonna get their profit off of it. Because you would be stupid, truth be told, you would be stupid not to.
Yeah, what
Right.
Nike look
Okay.
like not back in Kaepernick?
That's what I'm saying. Let's take the fact. Let's just not be too woke to understand that we're in America. Money has to be made. Money is going to be made.
Yeah.
So if you're going to ride a movement for capitalistic gain, then make sure you're writing the right one. And at the end of the day, if you're the
Yes.
person that they're writing, use your platform responsibly, which I think Kaepernick has done.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, you are an image for you, your community, and the people coming up behind you. And like you were using Muhammad Ali as an example before, I think it's important that even though that may have been Nike's intention or their base or whatever, it doesn't matter to a kid who is seeing him on TV or he saw his commercial or he saw his advertisements on social media. And I think that's the part that's different in this decade than what we've previously seen. Because, you know, in the 90s, literally, it was a slave trade and
Yep.
just money exchange.
Yeah.
Do your job, bounce your ball.
Yeah.
This is the stereotype that I want you to be in. Put that chain on, drink your Gatorade, and keep it moving. And now, athletes are setting up a different. They're changing the narrative, and I think that's the part that's important. Money has to be made, period.
Yes.
So we're not gonna harp on that part, but let's harp on how it's being made now.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's important. How is it being made now?
Amen.
That's it.
Amen.
And I think that the idea of like the individual having so much like power now is kind of like what is kind of pushing all these things. So
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I did not mention two of the most notable NBA franchises of the decade.
Speak them.
That would be the Miami Heat,
Ooh.
2010 through 2014.
That's when. Is that when
LeBron
LeBron?
James. LeBron James joined them in 2010.
The trifecta.
The decision. They went to the finals
Ooh, the
for 4 straight
decision.
years. One.
Name all three of them that went there. That with them.
Say
Lever.
again.
Name everybody who was traded in at the time.
Oh, it was just him and Chris Bosh that came in. That was the
I thought
main two.
Dwayne
Dwayne
was
was
already
already there. Dwayne
Yeah.
was
So
already
they
there.
came and joined. And that was when they kind of they went further past the whole big three area. Because I mean, truth be told, like the Boston Celtics did it first, like in terms of this more modern era, and then
Right.
the Heat kind of did it with like really really big names coming together that way. But
They did a whole production. I remember. 'cause I had
I
just
was
got
getting ready to say,
They
like,
did
this
a
was
whole
a
production.
and people were upset with him for doing it. But I want to say he donated that money to charity anyway. And they were really, he did like a local boys club, and they were pissed off that how dare you take all of our time to talk about where you're going to go. You're a free agent. Just make a decision and go. Because that's
I'm
how it's
talking about
been.
when they had the whole announcement thing, they were in Florida, and that
Well,
was
they
like
do that with everybody. Every team
That's
does
true.
that. But I think because it was such a big, so when the decision happened, it put a lot of focus on the team. And so then you come around when they did like the introduction of all the players, and all three of them came rising up from the bottom. And LeBron was like, not 5, not 6, not 7. D-Wade's on the side like, oh, Jesus Christ. I won 1 and that shit hurt, let alone multiples. So I think that
Shout out to
was,
D Wade retiring this decade.
oh God.
Throwing out random basketball facts.
I'm thankful that you know. I'm so thankful that you know, because it's like, that was a really big thing. And
That's only because
think,
I follow Gabby.
okay, that works too. That works too.
There we
And I
go.
think that whenever they came out, it was really scrutinized, because everyone was like, how cocky can you be? And
Right.
truth be told, they got a slice of humble pie that first year, because they played the Mavericks. And the Mavericks were like, yeah, nah, fuck you. Dirk was like, let me get my 1.
Dirk, I know that name.
You know Dirk Nowitzki?
Because he's older. I know all the older ones.
Yeah, he is. And so also on top of that is going to be the Golden State Warriors. 5-time NBA Finals in a row.
that's your team, man.
Those are my niggas.
Okay.
Those are my niggas. 3-time champions of the 5 times. They didn't get a 3-peat. It's okay. They got it 2 times in a row. Kevin Durant joined them. They won 73 fucking games. The Snake. People were upset with him. I think people were less upset with him than LeBron, because LeBron was the first one to do it.
Yeah.
So he took like the brunt
Oh, the
of all
first
of it.
one take the brunt.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like he was the second. Like Kevin Durant was the second child. The second child gets a lot more. He thinks it's bad, but it's like, you don't know what the first nigga went through.
Right.
And the Golden State Warriors won 3 out of 5. Shout out to KD for joining, and I hate that he had to tear his Achilles. I hope he feels better.
I have a question for you.
Please.
At any point in the foreseeable future, will there be a time where our sports lovers can like hear more of this, like, just like emphatic and arousing material from you?
For those of you who think that sports podcast is going too far, you think we got too radical with our message. You ain't heard nothing yet. And if you don't know, now you know. Glory, glory. So we will be having a sports podcast coming up with a few notable names from our lives coming up soon. Keep your ears open for that.
And even a guest star.
Yeah.
It will be a couple
Yeah.
guest stars.
A couple guest stars on there.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about that. We've been putting it in the works for a while. I'm thankful to my co-host for being open to that idea of
I
allowing
like the
that.
sports.
I don't know much about football. I will say that I don't know much about football, so it's going to have a lot of. They're going to teach me about football, because the other two know a lot about all the different kind of sports. So it's going to be a really good opportunity for me to learn a little bit more about it. But it's been great, and I think the 2010s has been really, really good for sports, notably basketball for me. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity to experience it. Melo left. They put him out. They put him out.
Carmelo.
But Carmelo Aloysius Anthony is back.
He's back.
Okay, and he's doing big shit.
He's back. And look for the sports edition of the podcast to jump in next year. Early January. We're going to get that out as soon as possible, because we've been talking about it for a whole lot of time.
At least a year, right?
At least a
Yes.
year. But now that we got some new equipment and stuff, we can do it now.
Yeah.
We can fucking do it.
But what about people who aren't coming to life?
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
God, that was
had
heavy.
we've had a lot of people who have passed away.
I'm not laughing at the passing.
It's
I'm
not.
laughing at Coley. Sorry.
At this point,
The transition of it all.
It was a bad time.
I mean, if we're gonna do it, we gotta
You
get
gotta
it there and do it.
It's fine.
We've had a lot of people that passed away in 2000 or in this decade.
2010s, yeah.
And the list that we have is not inclusive. Like these are
Right.
the ones that I pulled off that I was like, we are guaranteed to know and be even whether largely or minutely affected.
The first two,
Got you.
The first two really hurt me.
First one, Prince.
I couldn't believe that.
I was driving back from my week of training for my job in 2016 when that happened, and I was like, "What? No,
You said
Yeah.
2017.
16. It was April 2016.
I remember I was going to the Martin Lawrence concert or show.
April 2016, and I was like, "Are you serious right now?"
Mine that was personal and hurt me, and I felt like I literally, like I have to go to the fume. Was I was calling people like, "What are we wearing? Because this hurts."
Okay.
And I felt like I had a personal relationship when Whitney passed, and
Lord.
I'm still dealing with this.
If I
And
see her
then
face,
Bobby
hear her
Christina
voice.
was right,
Yes.
was not
Yeah.
right behind, but pretty much behind her. I was devastated because I was very cognizant as a kid, and when I heard about I used to love Whitney Houston, and when I heard about the drugs and all of that, and her lifestyle and all of that, I remember being disappointed, even as a kid. I was
not mad.
disappointed in her.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed
You've been a
in
mom
you,
for a
Whitney.
long time.
Like you know what I'm saying? You were my girl, and I just can't believe that you're doing this. And then so she had like a brink of a comeback, and then she was gone. And I was just like, why you take her from me, Lord? And I could just see the pain and the irresponsibility of how the family handled Bobby Christina, and then she was gone too. And I just couldn't somebody watch Bobby, Lord.
Right.
And that just hurt really bad. But I still, and I don't care how, I'm one of them people that will never get tired of a Whitney documentary or a movie or show, whatever. I'm never going to get over it. I'm never going to get tired of it. It just hurts. Like, she was a big deal to me. She was the first person I was like, oh, she's gorgeous. She's talented.
She was
I like
intriguing.
her.
She
She's
was
very
bubbly.
intriguing.
There was something about her that was just like, what's happening here? What
And
is this?
I liked seeing things about her as a kid where it wasn't the media side of her. Cut it out. She had her troubles, but listen, I felt like it was a real person under there, and it was. Come to find out, she was real Jersey, real ghetto. And I like that about her. I didn't like her troubles. I was disappointed even as a kid. Like, how dare you be sniffing and smoking that
Cocaine,
stuff?
Nicole. Cocaine.
She was on that stuff.
But you know what? In all seriousness, there will never be another voice like Whitney Houston.
Never.
And people can say whatever they want about, you know, the Mad TV sketches and the comedy, and at a certain point you start to associate her with being high and on drugs and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But
Marriage troubles.
But literally, her music, you will never hear someone sing like how Whitney Houston sang. And when she died, I just remember me and Najee were together. We were in a McDonald's, and it like hit on CNN. Whitney Houston dies 50 something, whatever her age was, and it was just
She was
like
48.
Oh, 48. Sorry. Ooh, right here. She was 48, nigga. 48. But either way it goes, it was just like, damn. You had all these jokes, but it's just like, this is real life. Like, this is an actual treasure
Yeah.
that we will never get back.
Because at the end of the day, with all the jokes and stuff, that's entertainment. But you never want to see that day. Like, you
Exactly.
entertain because you think, this is something she's going to be able to laugh about when she gets older.
When she gets over that, she's going to be able to
Right.
look back and laugh on
Especially
it.
after the whole comeback thing. And
Yes.
come to find out she was still
Yes.
high during
'Cause at
that
the time
too.
that she died, we thought she was okay.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
And I'd say foolish. We don't know because you don't know her, but
Yeah.
it appeared that even she didn't sound the same, she didn't look the same, but there was something, a little bit of the light that we remembered was
Right.
Was
there
coming back.
when she died. And it was
Yeah.
like, shit, man, I thought it was
And
okay.
we were accepting, we were accepting an older Whitney as long as she was
Yes.
healthy.
Yes,
And she just
And it
did,
was so disappointing to find out she was still struggling.
and
to
she
the
just
end.
did that.
and then no
fucking-
one was watching her
Michael
Right.
Jackson
enough
tribute.
to like stop it.
All right.
Not that tribute, but the BET Celebration of Gospel. I think that was like one of her last major performances. Well, did y'all feel that way about Robin Williams?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that was sad too.
That shit still hurts.
Well, anyone that takes their own life and the kind of personality that he was, so then to hear that was like, oh shit.
This was
Wow.
a very big check on your strong friends.
Check
Yes.
on your funny friends too.
Yes.
Yeah, coming from someone who is kind of in that position and deals with their struggles privately because they're a big personality, you get to where you're dependent on to help people come out of their own stuff. So who do you go to come out?
Right. Ooh.
No, that's big.
And
That's
that
big.
can
You
be
got to.
very difficult for a big and funny personality. Also, when you're the type of person who's known to take their struggles and like, I'm funny when I'm mad. I'm funny when I'm sad. And that's literally who I am. But you don't want to publicize or you don't want to speak on the days when even you don't have it.
I'm going through. Yeah.
Even you don't have it. And we're, comedians or the funny people in your life, we're still human. We still do deal with the same struggles. And most of the time, because of our comedy, that's our therapy. That's the free therapy that we have to see the light. That's what gets us over. That's what pushes us forward. But there are the days when there's no light left and there's nothing to laugh about.
Right.
And people kind of don't
You don't get it.
know
understand
how
that.
to react to
Yeah.
your moments like that, and you deal with a lot of them alone.
And it's so, as a person, as you guys didn't know, I like Christmas music, and a person who kind of deals with a lot of shit on his own in the background. I did not mean to kill Esquire. Please forgive me. I can't have another loss in 2019. But you gotta stop. Get it together.
Stay strong,
Please
bro.
find your
get
black
it
man
together.
joy. Please
Find
find
your
it.
note. I can't take it.
Am I lost?
And you're waiting.
I don't know how it's gonna tie together, Najee, but it's got to tie together.
And I think so. I too understand what it's like to deal with the struggle of, oh, you're supposed to be like the funny person, or like, oh, you always poking fun, or you're always the positive person. So
You're the life of
whenever
the party.
or not even just life of the party. Whenever, like for instance, Esquire is the light of positivity. So
Yeah.
whenever there have been moments where he wasn't being positive, you know something's wrong.
Exactly.
But he's not going to tell
Exactly.
you that there's something wrong.
That's the
And
thing.
it to me, I think for all of you listening out there, if you have a friend that you think is always funny or is always positive or is always there for you, do a better job and be there for them.
And you know what? Make them tell you. If you know
Yeah.
that you're close enough
Yeah.
to be able to do that, because that is important. Relationship boundaries, another episode. But when you know you're close enough,
Write that down.
Relationship boundaries.
when you know you're close enough to this person, like, I feel like I can ask Najee, like, cut the BS. What's really going on? When you know you take that responsibility and handle it with care.
Right.
Yeah.
And take the responsibility. Don't be the selfish one in the relationship that's always the checked on. I posted something the other day where I said I do a lot of checking, but I don't get a lot of check-ins. And my social media blew up because even though I was just doing a repost, it happened to be very true.
Right.
It happened to be very true for my life. And I understand it because of the personality that I have, but I also wanted my family and my loved ones to understand that this is where I stand sometimes, especially with all these life changes that I've dealt with lately.
Right.
Just understand that even if you know the answer, sometimes knowing that people care enough will boost the fact that on a bad day I know who I can go to.
That's exactly
or something
it.
like that.
You're right.
But not feeling like the feeling of not having anyone but being there for everyone is very lonely.
And can I jump in on that a little
Please.
bit? It's not even knowing that you have people. There's not even that you're searching for that kind of stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's
right.
the fact that when it happens, that means a whole lot.
It does.
It's like I
When
shouldn't
it
have
happens if you
to.
don't have to ask for it.
I shouldn't have to ask
That's
for
the-
it.
yeah.
It happens. But and that's a very good topic. Maybe we'll talk about that in one of our episodes
Yeah.
in the company.
2020.
season
2020 will be
3,
a good year.
because season
It's
2 is
big.
happening really good for us.
I think there are other people on this list that probably fall into that category. Maybe not directly, but you've got your Amy Winehouses, your Mac
Mac
Millers,
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker. Well, he was.
What
His
how
was
did
a
he
car
die?
accident.
car
Car accident.
Chester Bennington. There are a couple of people that I don't have on here.
Who was
Anthony
from-
Bourdain.
He was from Lincoln Park.
Lincoln
right?
Park, yes.
Okay.
A lot of people that were
Anthony
on that
Bourdain,
list
yes, he did.
took
He
their
did
own
die.
lives, and you would think that everything was okay. So that's a real thing that we cannot ignore to really be mindful about who's in your life and what's really going on. Because all the people in like the Amy Winehouses and the Mac Millers, like they're the one, or the Whitneys, these are the people who are crying out through their actions, and we're
Right.
either placating them and like letting them do what they're doing, or we're like shunning them, so there's no room for growth or error for them to
Right.
figure it out, and that's where
Right.
they lose it. So I think that's it's I feel for those kind of people that they had to go like that, where they couldn't figure out the space that they were in. They were
Right.
never
Yeah.
able fully to get through it, and that's not okay.
But we also lost some other people that did not die like that. We had Mary Tyler Moore. Did y'all watch that show, Mary Tyler Moore? You're gonna make
She's gone. Yes,
That's it.
Mary Tyler Moore.
those
Luke
had
Perry.
up in the city. Do, 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 do.
I didn't know she died.
Luke Perry, Elizabeth Taylor, White Diamond,
White.
Alan Thicke.
The white-
Lost
white
without
Thicke.
you.
What was it? Growing Pains?
Growing pains. Long as we got each other. George Michael. Oh, Najee, I know that was for you. Aretha Franklin,
I'm sorry,
Golly.
Careless Whisper. I'm sorry.
a Natalie Cole, Dick Clark, B.B. King, Michael Clark Duncan. I'm sorry.
John Coffey did die.
Yes, John Coffey, Donna Summer, Andy Griffith.
That hurt me too.
Andy
That's
Griffith?
all my childhood.
Andy Griffith.
Yeah,
My
staying
grandma-
with my
Matlock as well.
baby.
My mama
In the heat of the night.
let me tell you something.
Not in the heat of the night.
Let me tell you something.
My childhood,
My mama.
baby.
Yes. That in the heat of the night took everybody out of Alabama that I knew. It was a bloodbath in Alabama.
I
Like,
remember
people was
in the
laid
heat of the
out.
night at my mama's house, and I'm just like, what is this even? Just
Gary Cole, Florence Henderson, Lena Horne, Gene Wilder, Hugh Hefner, and don't forget our Nate Dogg.
smoke weed every day.
Nate Dogg is on my favorite hip hop song of all time.
What
Which
was your
is-
favorite song? What does it say? It.
Regulate by Warren G.
Ooh.
That's my favorite hip hop song of all
hit the
time.
east side of the LBC.
Let
on
me
a
tell
mission
you,
trying
I
to
was
find
7
Mr.
years
Warren
old.
G.
Dude.
A tenor
In the
nigga
mountains,
singing
but
on-
for some reason, I felt like I could relate to
regulators.
damn nigga, what's next? Like I just it was the storytelling for me. It was the way that I felt when I heard it. It was the melody. It was the background, but the story he told, just like this nigga having a real bad day.
You
And
real deep. You real deep right now.
even as a kid, I've always been that way. That is
so wait a
insane.
minute. Are you gonna be this deep when you talk about Joe Jackson? Because he's not on this list, and he died in this decade. The story he told,
Listen,
or the asses that he whooped.
I'm a very respectful person. Marlon. And if I diss Joe Jackson, then I have to diss. He didn't die in this decade, but I just feel like he's on the same level.
Ike.
Ike Turner, come on, baby, you know me. Come on, baby, come on, baby.
I
Come
can
on.
die this decade?
No, he didn't die in this
He didn't
decade.
die this day. He died a couple.
But I'm
decades
just
ago.
saying, the same level of respect that you give, even with their downfalls, you can't downplay what they
Ooh.
created.
That's
Period.
true.
I
No,
mean,
that's
he
true.
did. He did.
He
make
whipped them niggas
He
into
made some
stardom.
millionaires. Yes,
He was doing it before Chris did.
That's true.
He was the first Chris. Chris is Joe.
Chris is.
That's what we said. But look, so
I'm
we
so
have,
Jenner,
Jenner, by the way.
we have a
When
lot.
you're talking about beating people, you gotta be specific when you say Chris and stuff.
This is
like
true.
that.
Jenner.
Jenner.
Oh, yeah.
Jenner,
As far
not
as-
Chris.
Not the
Not
violent.
Jackson.
Not the
Right.
violent
Chris,
Chris.
Brown.
Monroe.
That was
Right.
last decade.
Yeah.
He beat ass.
Yes. Yes.
But look, we lost a lot of people, but we have to get through so much more in these decade that we have to review that we
Yeah.
can't do it all in this one episode. So we need to take 2 episodes, I think. So maybe
And just like Cicely Tyson, Morgan Freeman, and Betty White, we will live on.
Yes, we shall.
oh yes, they are in their hundreds, just about.
Collectively, they are 1,000,000 years old.
But
Methuselah ain't got shit on them.
y'all playing way too much. But look, we're gonna come back in the next episode and we're gonna review the rest of this episode, rest of the decade. Because there's a lot more we're gonna get to, and there's a lot more we want to talk about.
Such a literation
I just
decade.
really want to. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot George Michael died this decade.
Oh my god! Look at it.
Whenever we did that Christmas playlist and you put that Last Christmas by Wham on there, I put that on there.
You put that on
You
there. I
said that
didn't
we
use
had to
that.
be on there though, and
I
that's why
did. I
you
did
didn't
say
say it, and I put it on there, and I was like, when I tell you
Shine.
that a George Michael riff,
What is happening right? A father.
I will be your father figure.
Who does
Put
the,
your
who does
tiny
the
hand in mine.
Who does the piano? I mean the saxophone.
That's Careless
That's
Whisper.
Killer's Whisper. Sexy Sax Man used to kill that shit.
While y'all continue doing your George Michael, y'all keep come on back next week because we're gonna keep it rolling. We got your entertainments and your movies and your TVs and your musics out here
Yeah, absolutely.
for the rest of this decade because it was a motherfucking killer.
It was. And I'm still here, Pinky Lee, the super fan. Thanks. Bye.
Listen to the track.
Because Pinky will be back next week for that too.
Yes, you shall.
This is my part right here, entertainment. This is what I do.